All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. We are live. A couple of days ago, I didn't know if we were even going to get basketball on a Friday night. I didn't know if that's going to be weird, just like with all the playoff games and how they end, if there just wouldn't be the right scheduled day for it to start a playoff game on Friday night, chat. But what do you know? Luke Cornett, Derek White, they force a Game 6 in New York City, and it just tips off. We're just now underway. I almost want to just cut the live stream off. IT, fire up the chopper. We got to get courtside to this game. Make no mistake. I mean, could have gone courtside to the last game. Just scoot right in between Chalamet and Kendall Jenner, chat. But this game, I mean, it's not just the Jenners. It's everybody's out for this game. Busta Rhymes, is that our list of celebrities we want to sit next to at a Knicks game, chat? Kendall Jenner, then Busta Rhymes? Because make no mistake, I was like, okay, this is cool. I mean, a lot of again, celebrities, but also a cast of familiar characters as well, too. You know, Tracy Morgan and Spike Lee. Like, if we go to a Knicks game, we expect him to be there, you know. It's not... And I guess Chalamet is kind of entering that territory. He's more, I guess, the celebrity Knicks fan who is now... I mean, that's why Spike Lee's great as well, too. Again, he's at these games. He's at the road games, sometimes sitting behind teams. Like, Spike, you're firing up Reggie Miller. You're costing him playoff series. They go way back. Chalamet, that'll be his next turn for Knicks fandom. Will he just get Jaylen Brown fired up at some point in the game in the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, the Chalamet game and the 30 for 30 way, you know, all these years later, chat. But and Stiller is there as well too. The Busta Rhymes has got this great Knicks jacket on as well too. So I don't know, maybe we're just in the mood for some, I was gonna say old school hip hop. Obviously, you know, I was gonna say their prime days as well too, chat. But Busta Rhymes, Blockbuster a couple years ago, I'm a fan. I like the album. And then, you know, again, speaking of old school rappers, our boy Snoop dropped an album today, chat. Snoop is back. Snoop is dropping more songs than any of these guys out there. Snoop is trying to run the game, and make no mistake, chat, we might fire it back up here in a little bit. I don't know. It kind of hits. So I guess Snoop, now we're wandering over to a different coast. So, oops, there we go, chat. But, yeah, who else was even at? Well, I guess we just want to go sit next courtside to Busta Rhymes at a game. I feel like that would be fun, chat. I feel like that would be fun. But there was, I guess Sudeikis was there. You know, just the Knicks All-Stars in attendance for tonight. And not only do we have NBA action on as well, too, but I thought the schedule's way off, chat. I thought the WNBA started next week. Turns out opening night is right now. So we've got some... we're back to 2 basketball games in the background. This is great. I'm a fan. Of course, like we said, the NBA game just tipped off, and we've been trying to keep up with this Paige Beckers versus the Timberwolves, chat, but the Minnesota Lynx. We've got Nafisha Collier, who I don't know if she was favored to win MVP or if it was a player poll that they did before the season and she was picked, or, you know, GM poll or whatever sort of preseason ranking that they were doing for the WNBA. And maybe she was actually I know we did look at it a couple live streams ago as well too, chat, because I remember Caitlin Clark was, I think, second. It's like, oh, but you know, not saying that that's not going to happen. I'm just saying that it's like, yeah, I guess we're already there, and I guess she might have been, you know, in the mix. Was she third in voting last year? So it's not even that, you know, big of a jump. But it's just as well too. You know, you're trying to wrap your NBA brain around it, and maybe it's just like, okay, well, Wembanyama wasn't in the MVP running his second year, so, you know, it's just not fair, but it's just impressive stuff. And I know the timeline of when they enter the league is a little bit different, but regardless, chat, I mean, even the 4 year, I mean, I guess you go back a little bit, and you know, Bird is entering the league a little bit more as a well-rounded player than some of these other guys, but Bird was still Bird. Like, what, you put Bird in the league as a freshman, he's not going to be 4th or 5th in the MVP that year, chat? You're telling me Bird and... what would that have been, 70? Who knows, Jack? Because he was, 79 draft? Was he the same draft as Magic, but then went out a year later? Or was he drafted the year before and then went out the same year? I forget. It was one of the other, chat, where they were the same. But I just remember his draft year and the year that he actually went into the NBA. I don't think they actually lined up for him. But... because it might be weird tracking his Rookie of the Year stuff. I guess we can just check it out here, chat. I guess the Celtics are on, so Celtics history. There we go. We can catch up. Bird's Rookie Year? Oh, yikes, chat. Celtics 101. But it's more the Bird draft in the Bird year. Larry Bird or Otis Bird song? Which one are we talking about? Oh, yeah, Larry Bird. 6th overall pick in the 78th draft. But, yeah, did not play. And then the 79-80 season. So that would have been, oh wait, that's his game log. We want the actual NBA year here because, well, his rookie of the year would be on here. But would he technically qualify as a rookie? Because he didn't play. So I'm staring right at it, chat. He was rookie of the year. Of course, there it is. It's bolded out, so it's throwing me off. It's the one that he actually won. Yeah, him and Magic, of course. 63 votes over Magic as rookie of the year. But then again, you look at the ages, like he's 3 years along. So it is what it is. Magic with an 18-7-7, and then, of course, you know what he does in the finals as a young player. Didn't even make an All-NBA team, though, his rookie year. Bird, of course, ascended those levels as well, too. Not just the best in his class. But, the finals, game 6, I guess, versus the Sixers. Am I thinking of this right, chat? The game where he pops off for, 40 points at center. Yeah, 42 points. You see him right there. I was going to say the first Jokic, but I guess Wilt and some of the guys. George Mikan. Was George Mikan really the first Jokic? I guess George Mikan wasn't putting up the assist numbers, chat. But, geez, are we going to stumble down the rabbit hole? I want to know what Mikan's career high in assists is. Just because, chat. You guys have never sat around and just been like, oh, yeah, I wonder what George Mikan's career high in assists was. Did they even track assists? Did they know what assists were? Norm Nixon, chat. It's a good thing that Magic Johnson and Jamal Wilkes carried. I guess nobody remembers Jamal Wilkes. 16 for 53%. Stop at 37. I mean, chat. He was cooking in this game. 37 and 10. Norm Nixon, a 1 for 10. Yikes. Luckily, he was able to get a championship. Mark, you want to talk about people that get forgotten about, chat. Mark Landisberger. I literally didn't even know. I mean, this whole bench, I didn't even know these guys existed. Who are they? I mean, this is not a real player, chat. Who is this guy? This guy played for the Lakers? Really? He logged minutes? 2-time champ. Both with LA? So he got, I guess, both. He was in the same class as Magic, chat. Oh, no. That would have been his first playoff appearance. Yeah, they needed Magic to make the playoffs. I guess he was on the Bulls the first couple of years. If Mark Landsberger. Mark Landsberger. Brad Holland? Pootsie Weber is his nickname? Probably Potsy Weber. Probably not Pootsie Weber. Popsy Weber, though, is just a straight-up different name. 3 points a game. Okay, not necessarily stellar production from the early 80s, late 70s Lakers bench. And then Marty Barnes. Poor Marty Barnes doesn't even get a picture, chat. First overall pick, or first round 19th pick in the 78th draft. Unfortunately, bounced around a little bit. Dallas, traded to Dallas. 8 points a game. Dallas always finding the guys from the Lakers that nobody wants, I guess. But I guess it's not that nobody wanted Davis. Everybody wants Davis. It's just, Davis for Luka, maybe a little bit different. But Steve Mix, Bob. I mean, again, the Sixers team. Maybe this is why the Magic Johnson performance is so impressive, chat. Because in a vacuum, they tell you that this rookie, and I guess the problem is, especially you tell kids now, like, this rookie enters the league and he can play he plays all the positions. It's like, hey, yo, Paul, he plays all the, it's like, of course, that's what almost every guy does. Or just the way that basketball is constructed, the definitions of roles are a little bit different as well, too. But just the idea that, I guess, a point guard would step in and play all fives, play the center, and as well, too, I mean, was he going up? Daryl Dawkins, I guess he's not going up against Malone. But Daryl Dawkins was a menace as well, too. Was Caldwell Jones a center or more of a forward? Yeah, 6'11", okay. I was going to say, I didn't know if he was like a 6'8". I guess we didn't have a height for Caldwell Jones in the file. But I knew he was a front court player, obviously. 30th in MVP voting in 1980-81. But a long career for him. Finishing off in San Antonio, chat. His last year, 89-90 for the San Antonio Spurs. How about that? Shout out Caldwell Jones. He's a legend in my mind. Maybe he weirdly is one of those guys that you can add into your all-time. And the Spurs obviously pretty stacked, but like we have a couple of players that we can kind of sneaky be like, if we get the prime version of everybody that played for the team, it just continues to bolster up the team. And then other teams as well too, like the Lakers and Celtics. I mean, the Celtics would be like, well, do we get prime Shaq because he played for us at one point? And guys like Bill Walton as well too that still impacted, but maybe they didn't even get peak Bill Walton at that era. But like the Spurs, if we could get like a peak Tracy McGrady on the all-time Spurs roster, chat, I mean, we're cooking. We're cooking. And obviously, you know, in the all-time roster, we're going to need a defensive wing that can maybe get his own shot and play, and yeah, maybe play make, but, you know, the offense, defense, just to be a special perimeter menacing defender. Like, we might need that type of guy in the all-time lineup. We're definitely going to rely on the services of a peak version of that player. But especially if we add T-Mac into that lineup, chat, if it was... And, you know, Ginobili. See, the thing is the nostalgia of the Spurs all-time lineup. You want, and maybe if we're just running these guys out on the court, maybe at the end of the day, it's like, oh, guess what? The Spurs, Duncan, Ginobili, Parker, three-man group just works versus whatever skill you're putting out there on it. You know, and again, they proved that they could go toe-to-toe with the best of the best, chat. But, you know, toe-to-toe is obviously an understatement. But I guess it was more people going toe-to-toe with the Spurs. You know, they flipped it at one point there, but you're just thinking in the individual, you know, T-Mac versus a guy like Ginobili, chat. I guess you could probably figure out a way to play them all together, though. I just don't want to disrespect, you know, some legends like, you know, George Gervin, chat. You gotta give George Gervin his respect. And Artis Gilmore, like, how do we run 4 centers, chat, with Wembanyama now? We have Duncan Robinson, Wembanyama, and Artis Gilmore all on the floor together, and then George Gervin at the point, I guess, because he could, I think, sneaky be like a 4 almost, or Boris Diaw at the point, chat. Boris Diaw running the point with Wemby at the 2, a 7-3-2. So maybe PJ Carlissimo is coaching this team, chat. He's got Wembanyama at the shooting guard, and then we've got Duncan and Carlissimo, or Carlissimo's on the sideline. Duncan and Artis Gilmore and David Robinson are the lineups. I'm trying to think, is there any other legendary centers that I'm missing that played for San Antonio, chat? Obviously, those are the legendary guys that, yeah, Wemby, chat, we're putting him in the legendary guy status. But shout out, he already is a legendary figure anyways in San Antonio. Hopefully he turns into a legendary player as well. But yeah, he's on pace, chat. The numbers are good. We're fine with our guy Wembanyama. We got Giannis, maybe Giannis in the future, chat. Giannis at the point. Giannis, Wemby. Unfortunately, I guess Boris Diaw's out of the lineup, but Giannis, maybe Boris Diaw's in over Wemby, chat. But Giannis, Wemby, Artis Gilmore. Did I say Duncan Robinson earlier or David Robinson? I forget, chat. Duncan Robinson's a Michigan man, so you know we're pro Duncan Robinson, obviously. But I guess in terms of the Spurs lineup, it would be David Robinson that we at least would probably prefer over, you know, nothing against Duncan Robinson. Maybe there's a use for him on the team, but David Robinson, I think, would be the more beneficial player in the lineup anyways. But yeah, peak T-Mac anyways, chat. I don't know what we were... Oh yeah, Caldwell Jones. We forgot about Caldwell Jones. He could be a peak center. A prime version of Caldwell Jones. Defensively, how many all defenses was Caldwell Jones on? 2? Oh, okay. So, but he was literally the doctor of defense. This is a great nickname. This is another amazing nickname discovery. Pops? I mean, Pops. I guess it's more Pop than it is Pop. You know, Coach Pop. He's not really Pops. So Caldwell Jones is Pops. I guess he can have Pops, chat. And CJ, you know, the initial nicknames, they are what they are. But the doctor of defense? That's like a Marvel character. Maybe he might be in... Is he in the Thunderbolts, chat? The Doctor of Defense? Maybe he's the guy the Thunderbolts are trying to take down. But shout out to Caldwell Jones. Magic, I guess, playing center back in the day. We're going to have to backtrack, chat, and figure out how we got to Magic Johnson playing. Something to do with Larry Bird's rookie season and... whatever. I don't know. Is it rookie seasons? It doesn't matter. We're talking about were we talking about Paige Beckers, Caitlin Clark? Rookies around in the WNBA. Young players, young careers starting off. Impacts already happening as well too. And this Dallas team with Paige Beckers, chat, and you know, it's not obviously just Paige Beckers right away. They've got players like Agumbawale already on the roster, and they made some other, you know, off-season moves as well too, as the camera cuts to Carrington. As we say that, chat. But, yeah, they're going toe-to-toe right now with the Lynx, who were a team that, like we were saying, Collier was projected to be a high vote getter in the MVP race, and she was last year as well too. But the Lynx, I think, were the title favorite, and not to say that them with maybe some, I don't know what the because again, the Wings maybe were a little bit more of a like off-season spotlight team, obviously with the #1 pick and then getting Paige Beckers, so we're a little bit more clued in on some of the moves that they made. I don't know exactly how much roster turnover the Lynx have had, chat, but. And it's tough to say that Ogunbowale is the best scorer in the game because, again, Collier can get a bucket, obviously, at her own rate. But just the points per game number, anyways, it is, the guard forward thing. But maybe that actually flips in the WNBA. And, in the NBA, it's kind of just whatever. But a lot of the forward front court players as well, too, lead in scoring. But Ogunbowale. And I was trying to think about that as well, too. I was thinking a little bit about T-Mac watching Ogunbowale here in the first half of this game, not just like player comparison wise, but I was trying to think of a situation where in the NBA a player, and again, this is not to just like, I feel like there's been there, and last year there was some players in and out of the lineup as well too. There's a lot of things going on with why they weren't able to get the wins, and like San Antonio, we were just talking about to get Duncan with David Robinson, and I guess that would be, so Duncan Robinson is the combo of Duncan and David Robinson. Who knows, chat. That would not necessarily be like if you merge their players. Sometimes I don't know. Yeah, well, I don't know if you guys have ever done like the face thing with people. Hey, yo, chat. The face thing. What are we talking about? Like, there you can do the apps where you can like put two faces in and then see obviously like, if they make another face, chat, what does it look like? But sometimes you're like, wait a second, I don't think the math is math in here. But you're like Suge Knight and All Eyes on Me. You got a problem with math, Ronnie? The numbers aren't adding up. Like this, I don't think these two faces would make this face. And you see that sometimes in celebrity stuff as well too, where sometimes maybe the more attractive celebrities, like, okay, I don't know, the parents are not necessarily 10s out of 10s, chat. And then sometimes you get two people, you're like, you can't miss. And then it's like, well, are we hearing about this person down the road? So, you just never know how the math is going to math. But maybe if you mix Tim Duncan and David Robinson's games together, you get Duncan Robinson. Who knows? But, with Paige Beckers, anyways, I was trying to think of a situation where a player that was leading the league in scoring to the degree, again, I think Ogunbowale, like she had in college. I mean, again, did she win the national title? She took down that UConn team, but I think she actually did win the national title. So, she's kind of a proven, not kind of a proven winner, but there's there's proof that her scoring can raise a team to a championship level, where sometimes, the guys leading the teams in scoring on the bottom level of the NBA teams are not necessarily have that type of resume where they have good numbers, but have any of their teams, had that kind of success as well too. But again, with just the totality of the offseason moves to completely reconstruct a roster around a scorer like this, I don't know if the NBA has that equivalent. I guess we'd have to go back and look at like some of these Magic or Bird before they got onto their teams, because again, those teams, and like we were just looking at the bench of this Lakers team, chat, like obviously it's not like, and with the way that Kareem and Magic, and I think, the Lakers become Showtime with Magic. So, and they did have, with West and stuff, there was people, I guess, always kind of gravitating toward LA. But, they just got so stacked there. And then the Celtics and the Lakers, again, specifically, just started really gearing up to face off against each other. But I guess Kareem was, of course, on the team a couple of years. And did they get the Magic pick via a trade as well, too? Now that I'm thinking about that, I don't think they got that necessarily just based on their own thing. I mean, Jerry West, of course, I guess coach was the Bill Sharman executive. Jerry West coach. But if Jerry West is in the organization, there's some shrewd moves going on, chat. Rest in peace, the legend. That he's scooped up a pick or two from somewhere. He's definitely won a couple of trades. I feel like shrewd is good, right, chat? That can be. Do we have to look that up real quick? I feel like it can be good or bad, but I feel like it could probably be good too. Oh, no, yeah, it's good. It's all good. Well, I guess if you have... Oh, we're not looking for help, chat. See, the problem is the help button is right next to, like, the volume and the brightness buttons. So I'll just, like, randomly be clicking the help button on accident. But, oh, no, see, it can mean mischievous or malicious. But I guess if Jerry West is really screwing the other team over, it can be malicious. Well, malicious is, like, with bad... But it can be, obviously, bad results for the team, chat. Having sharp powers of judgment. Astute? Another word? Okay, chat. We'll have to use, I guess, astute at some point here. Lock it in. What's the over-under for how many minutes it takes us to use astute, I guess. But Lou Hudson? I guess Lou Hudson at 34. Yeah, Lou Hudson was in the Hall of Fame. But I guess those last couple of years in the Lakers were him. Maybe, like a lot of guys, settling down. Chad is like, okay, if we're going to buy a home for the long term here, maybe we go out to the West Coast. But that type, and again, a lot of times too, especially now with the tanking teams in the NBA, they get to trading off their players in a way that maybe this type of score wouldn't still be on the roster. But it's just a unique situation. I guess maybe Wembanyama, like if you're just, I guess it's a different thing as well too. Like, who are the young prospects that are like you want to build around? Because again, sometimes the impact hasn't necessarily translated into wins the same way. And Wemby, they may have been out of the lottery mix in a way. That's going to be a big storyline that who knows how that is, discussed, I guess, going forward and looking back at what the events were leading up to this lottery. But the fact that Wembanyama got hurt over the course of the season and the Spurs were in the playoffs and all that stuff, and not to say that we would have been out of the lottery, like we could have still been in the play-in mix and all that stuff, but just maybe our lottery odds would have been a little bit worse, and the opportunity for maybe the league just rigs it anyways. Like we're saying, the league's rigged, so who cares if the Spurs are the 8th? The Mavs won the number 1 pick, back-to-back years. The 11th team in the draft has won the number 1 overall pick. So maybe they're just reading the numbers wrong, chat. They just had a little double vision going on in the NBA front office. I don't know. Adam Silver needs to little lens correction, chat. He keeps reading these numbers wrong. And Hawks last year, Mavs this year. So maybe the Spurs just jump up to number 2 anyways. But, just that little bit maybe of few, and, De'Aaron Fox as well too, getting shut down over the course of the season. Like, maybe those just couple of injuries are able to help us fall off just enough, chat. I mean, obviously, again, we would have been a terrifying team with both those guys. So those just knocked us out of contention, having those 2 guys on the court, obviously. But you wouldn't expect, like, again, how long has Agumbawale here been in the WNBA? Like, she's kind of in her prime-ish, I would say. Let's see here, chat. What do we got? So 27, 6 seasons. 6 full seasons, and they don't have the start of this season, I guess, listed yet. So she's entering those peak years anyways, where she's going to be at the prime of her powers. I mean, the scoring, I guess, is 22.8 in that year too. But 5 playoff games in 2023, chat, 19 a game, 38, 35. But yeah, I mean, again, the MVP votes, you see W All-NBAs. Like, basically every year registering MVP votes is pretty crazy. And 4 times, 5 times in the top 10. And I guess a couple of those seasons didn't make the W All-NBA rosters. But I guess just the 2 on there. So I don't know if this was maybe a games played thing, because 38 games played in her rookie seasons. I guess this one 40 games played. But regardless, chat, she's at that level of, you can put her in the playoffs right now, I guess is the point. And she can get you buckets in a playoff game at a consistent level, I think. And to be able to put a team around her in a way, like it's going to be a feisty team. And Beckers is only going to get better throughout the course of the season. Carrington was on a title contending team last year, the Connecticut Sun, where they were in the finals, right, chat? Are we just biased remembering that, thinking that the Liberty Aces playoff matchup was the finals, but I think the actual finals was Connecticut Sun versus the Liberty. And again, Dejanay Carrington was a big part of that roster, and her elevation as a player was a big reason they were able to make that push. So, I mean, you just add her, I was gonna say, is she a little like the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson of the WNBA chat? But in terms of like, if she could just go to these teams and just all of a sudden they're in the conference championship every year, like maybe that type of impact level run. Anyways, and maybe energy on defense, but I don't know how far the comparison goes. But do we actually have to pay attention to the NBA game, chat? Knicks versus Celtics. The Knicks are in the lead. I guess we kind of just expect them to win, so it's just keeping an eye. Do we watch when Luke Cornett's in the game? Because I guess that's when the Celtics are they're gonna take over. But Towns finally getting a 3 to go. Is that like his first 3-point make of the series? Unless he made one earlier in the first quarter that we were missing. Right over the top of Hauser, chat. He got inspired. He saw Sam Hauser on defense. He's like, this guy's been hitting threes. I guess we don't know Sam Hauser's 3-point percentage for the series right now, I guess. But, oh, Bridges in the corner for 3. Wide open. His corner 3, I feel like, has been pretty good this series. I mean, obviously, Bridges himself has been pretty good this series. But I feel like his corner 3 has been pretty reliable. I don't know if I necessarily feel... I guess just the confidence level I have from him taking the corner 3 right now is the most of any of the spots. That's kind of the classic, Bridges game, I guess. But with the extra creation that he's shown as well, too, you kind of just would expect maybe the spot-up stuff to just... Like, okay, the wing top of the key is probably going to be fine. But there might be an actual thing to his jump shot in the distance with the little bit shorter distance from the corner, where a lot of guys, the corner obviously becomes a weird spot with the no backboard to try to dial it in maybe for some guys. And I guess that's why you see a lot of like centers and stuff kind of step out to the corner 3 maybe a little bit early on. But again, with Bridges' game, you wouldn't necessarily expect him to just be quote-unquote like reduced to corner 3s. But Towns taking Horford off the dribble, so he's not... See, the problem is Towns, because Jokic, when, I guess, are we like comparing kids right now, chat? Why don't you more like Jokic? But when and maybe it's just due to the lack of athleticism that Jokic has, but when he's driving in, there's a control, and he's usually jumping off of 2 feet as well, too, a lot of times. When he's, I guess he's not really jumping. It's more of a drive and stop and kind of pivot around and use his size to get a good look. But Towns just does a lot. Towns does a little bit too much flailing on the drives for a 7-footer, Chad. And Porzingis at the rim, like he's getting a foul call. Maybe he's learning from Brunson a little bit about how to get to the free throw line. But maybe he turns some of those into and one opportunities as well, too. Because I think especially for, well, not necessarily just 7-footers, like stronger players, but, that goes across all levels as well, too, guards. Like Brunson, like I think you could really train the and one game, obviously, as a part of the game, like the way hard, and not just drawing fouls and getting to the line, but the extra piece of it of even if there's contact here, and again, it's not even if there's contact, because if you're a guy like Harden, you're a guy like Brunson, you're like, okay, well, I'm initiating the contact, so I should probably be actually able to get the shot if I need to be able to get the shot. But Towns can play a little bit too much for the foul sometimes on the drives. Like, he's good for a dunk, good for a nice poster just because of the way he's flailing in there. But I feel like he'd set himself up for some more success, and maybe more of those moments. Like I feel like again for the 7-footer, like Towns wants the Anthony, and again he played with Anthony Edwards last year, so he's just imitating all these guards that he played with. But he's like trying to do that flying in. I'm gonna leap over the top of the big man and just get him on the picture. But a lot of times with the 7-footer, it is that almost Jokic-y style thing, or I feel like maybe Zubac's got Jokic a couple times with the dunks, or maybe Hartenstein a couple of times with the dunk in this series, where you kind of just, again, you drive and then you you get the other big kind of under the rim. Like Holiday kind of drives like this sometimes, but he'll go almost like wing down to the baseline and then under the basket. So then that way, when he dribbles back out, he can like push the defender away from him and then go up for the layup. And a lot of times the bigs will drive middle and then get the defender under the basket, and then kind of spin back. And I think when you spin back and the defender's underneath the basket, it's really hard for them to block that shot, obviously, but I think you get that poster dunk there. So if Towns wants that poster, I think that's his best bet. And again, he is quicker, and I think he's a quicker leaper than a lot of the other guys as well too, even if he's not just going to like be Dwight Howard with the dunking over the top of these guys. But yeah, anyways, the Knicks with the lead to start is encouraging. And with the Celtics, chat, I have been cooking on this. I don't want to say it's a hot take, but you know, it seems right now that it might be kind of a hot take. So, oh, speaking of Celtics, chat, big perk. Oh, I guess this is. See, we're getting confused because we had the Ion on to get ready for the WNBA game that was going to happen with this Wings game, and they were playing a little NCIS. So this perk commercial that was happening, he was playing a cop in this commercial. I guess it was some Chime commercial. But I was like, wait a second, is Perk on NCIS now? And I was, oh, is he following in the footsteps of Stephen A? First Take and NBA Countdown's just taking over the drama cop show airwaves? But I guess just in a commercial. So maybe that's his audition, chat. The next step for Perk. Let's get Perk in NCIS. A detective? Has Shaq ever been in NCIS, chat? Shaq has actually been a cop, you know, a police officer. I don't know if he ever got detective roles, but maybe Shaq is the bad guy in an episode. Maybe he is like a beat cop. I don't know. Hey, yo, pause. But you know, maybe he's like, hey, yo, what, you know, maybe just like a patrol officer. What are we talking about, chat? He's like a patrol officer who is, you know, just like a low-level guy. And I guess I don't know what rank the NCIS guys are. I don't even know what NCIS actually stands for, chat. National Criminal Investigation Services? Is that what it is? That might be an NCIS. I don't know if that's actually what the show stands for. Oh, naval. They invest, so cocaine crimes, they invest nose crimes. I don't know what. Oh, maybe. U.S. Navy, chat. U.S. Navy. Okay, but I mean, I feel like the boat shipments of some of these stuff, you know, NCIS might be right in the front lines of what we just talked about. They just seized one in Australia, chat, that we saw someone on Instagram, like $500 million. Was it $500 million worth? It was over a ton. It's like, oh man, just a whole, you know, be discreet. Just take a whole ship across the ocean. I guess the ocean is a pretty big place, chat, but it's not like, see, the ocean and the sky are weird things because there's routes, chat. I guess that's not like a hot take, but with all this stuff, so I don't know if they're like when they ship the cocaine, chat. I don't know if are they just using the actual shipping lanes? Because again, that's just not discreet. But are you going to go off the path in the ocean? Then you're that's risky, chat. But it's like how do these planes run into each other in the sky? Like the sky's so big, but it's like, oh yeah, they have to, I guess, fly over all these routes and stuff, and there's a lot of traffic. I don't know. You don't want to hit a satellite or something. So are we an idiot, chat? Are they on boats a lot in NCIS? I feel like just watching clips. Yeah, a lot of office shots here. Okay, that makes sense. You know, workplace drama. But I feel like a lot of the clips that we've seen have been more of them, again, on land, in the street. Okay, here we go, chat. Here's some water. I don't know. This looks more like a lake situation, a pond almost, than, you know, the Navy. From NCIS to Top Gun, was Glenn Powell in NCIS? Chat. Okay, wait a second. Let's just go NCIS scenes and see what we get here. Okay, land. What's the ratio of land to water scenes here, chat? A lot of land, a lot of office. Let's go NCIS Shaq and see if Shaq has ever made a cameo. For some reason, I'm not an agent, chat. I'm not a talent. What kind of news is this web source giving us about Shaq, chat? We're just trying to look for a cameo. Because I'm not a casting director, but I feel like that would be a good show for him to make a cameo in. And I don't know which ones Stephen A. is actually, which ones he's actually in. Is he? Well, he's in General Hospital is where he's the recurring character for Brick. But he was in another one. which I think was a cop show. Maybe it was NCIS, but I think it is. I'm guessing General Hospital's ABC. So I thought he was making an appearance on an NBC show, a Peacock show, but I don't know if that would be allowed, Chad. Stephen A. on the other networks, Disney, get control of your guy. But anyways, I guess the hot take that we were cooking on for the Celtics, chat, is, and I get it right now as well too. Like these teams, they can get expensive. They can, there's a lot of real life money behind the scenes that maybe you don't see with fans. There's Busta Rhymes again, chat, in the jacket. He's winning the best look right now for Knicks fans. Up by 13. Ooh, chat. They can we say they can taste it? Hey, YouTube, don't take us down. We're just talking about the conference championship feeling. But there is especially losing Tatum for a whole season, like what that season means in a championship window with these guys, like. Because in theory, with as expensive as this roster is, and especially with repeater tax as well too, like if you just run this back this year, it's expensive. And then if you try to run it back again next year, like, depending on just what's even feasible with the second apron, with the contracts, and then what's realistic with ages of guys and stuff. Like I don't know the scenarios a couple of years out, but just this year, you think, okay, we're kind of. Like this next season would definitely be the last season this next upcoming season would definitely be the last season for this group of guys. And again, they've already kind of said that they're gonna mix something up this year. But again, with losing Tatum, it's gonna be tough for them to try to maintain, I guess, maybe a title window for next year. And their window is back-to-back champions as well too. Even again, this game is 13. There's a little bit of frisky hope going into this game, and then you go game 7 back to Boston. Who knows? Maybe you find yourself in a conference championship game, but I don't know if we actually thought they were going to make it to the finals without Tatum. But I was, of course, thinking about the championship teams that we've had, because, we've been thinking a lot about these teams, again, not just not repeating, but not getting back into the conference in the last couple of rounds, not making the deeper playoff pushes the same way that a lot of these teams have in the past. And now you could look back at it and just kind of, maybe you do just chalk it up to injury over the last couple of years, and maybe that is an easy way to kind of look at it with the scheduling of the league as well too is a hotly debated topic. But Giannis is been a guy that's been out of playoff series over the last couple of seasons that have definitely impacted the way the Eastern Conference has looked. Have the Lakers guys been fully healthy going into a lot of playoff runs? The Nuggets have, I guess the Nuggets just got beat by the Timberwolves last year, Chad. It is what it is. Jokic just didn't hit threes in a game 7. But the Celtics, of course, are going to be another team that is just going to be kind of chalked up to, and maybe shouldn't just be, because this Knicks series was looking grim anyways, but it's in the bigger picture, it is what it is. It's going to be just another thing that is chalked up to injury for him. But I was also trying to look at the other teams, just the teams, and be like, okay, is there something these teams are doing that is messing this up for themselves and not putting themselves up in this spot to be in the competitive windows from year to year? And it still has been a lot of the core guys, outside of, I guess, Toronto, because obviously Kawhi left the next season. They knew that was a 1-year ordeal. But again, you get LeBron and Davis for the last several years here leading this team in LA after winning the title. You still at least have Giannis as your franchise face. Again, him getting directly injured at the playoffs is a little bit different. Like, Jokic is still there, of course, and Murray and Gordon and all these main guys are still in place. But it does feel like there has been some stuff on the fringes with these teams. And again, maybe it's the way the league is set up now and just owners don't want to pay. Who knows, chat? But there has been some stuff with the other guys on these rosters that have just not been the same. Or I guess they just haven't been, they've been making moves around the fringes, and the rosters haven't been the same in those spots that they are in the next several years going forward. And it's weird to look in NBA history as well too, because I was trying to think, like, do I go back and try to figure out, like, are the 6th, 7th, and 8th mans of these title teams like all the same every year? And it's like, well, again, if you're going to be making moves, like, that's going to be the places that you're adjusting the roster. Maybe not even that, like 4th, 3rd, whatever, just the situation of your top end talent is. Like, even again, MJ, of course, had different looks from the versions of the three-peat for those teams, even if it was him and Scottie as the top two guys. So, again, maybe if you have a legendary guy like MJ or LeBron or Steph, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. And, maybe Jokic and Giannis, we are wanting them to be in that territory. The regular season dominance has been in that territory. But you get a guy like, KCP, who was on the Lakers team that won the finals, of course, goes to the Nuggets team that win the finals. You get a guy like Caruso that impactful in this playoff run. We're seeing it, impactful in this playoff run that I guess we're referencing both checks. We're looking at the previous one and we're both thinking about this one as well too, but it doesn't matter. Either way you want to say it. This 1920 championship run and this run that the Thunder are having, he is being impactful / was impactful in both of those. And yeah, you think about the Nuggets again with KCP. He leaves the Lakers, so I know it's the same guy, but just that. So maybe KCP is just, now that we've lost him, there's no consistency with winning the titles. But he leaves the Lakers, and they make turnovers in their other spots on the rosters. The Nuggets do the same thing when they lose KCP and Bruce Brown, and the Bucks kind of messed with some stuff as well too. Maybe the Bucks actually were the one team that kind of stuck together. Actually, maybe they were just Giannis getting injured, but they traded Drew Holiday, and now Middleton's gone, and they made the move for Kuzma. So now it's totally different. But I do almost wonder, and again, I think that would be the first time in NBA history that that anybody's ever spent $500 million, like I guess real dollars. Again, not like salary cap with I guess all the taxes and stuff. Like it'd be the first $500 million roster in NBA history. So I'm not saying run back every piece of it, but I guess my hot take is, Chet, don't be too dramatic if you're the Boston Celtics. I actually think maybe there is something to keeping the pieces together. And I get that maybe you look at Drew Holiday and you look at Horford and Porzingis, and it makes sense, especially with their ages as well too. It's not like they're just numbers on a page that they're looking at and like, okay, well, we just can't afford. It's not Harden, for OKC back in the day where it's like, oh man, Porzingis might still be and he's, I guess, still has good years in front of him potentially, but it's not like, oh, will he be a first, and Harden as well too, became a better player, but would he be like an all NBA level guy at some point? But especially with the Tatum Brown combo, you start to think, okay, we'll do, and that kind of goes to what I'm saying is like, well, if we want to be as consistent as possible with this roster, do we trade like 3 of our other players outside of Tatum and Brown, or do we keep Tatum and all the other guys and trade a guy like Jaylen Brown? And I don't know, Chad. I think just again looking at the way that you're like, okay, maybe the way the Nuggets lost a couple of guys, and they're kind of just now figuring it out. And I want to say just now figuring it out, but it's like they had finally one game where these bench guys emerged in a real, Braun was awesome in stretches in that last game. Julian Strother had an amazing quarter in that last game as well too, and it was like, okay, this makes sense for at least what they were trying to go with we need to bring in some young players who have been in competitive games in college and might be more ready to step into these bigger environments and not be afraid. So again, if you find the right pieces, I guess it does work, but there is just going to be that transition of Braun needs to get better. I guess Strother is still a young guy, but Braun, and again, Strother is more of a heat check for a quarter type guy. Like Braun is developing into a, you have him out there as one of your final 5 pieces. He can play defense on a perimeter guy for the entire game. Of course, he's guarding Shea for a lot of it. His 3-point shooting, if you leave him open, it's like kind of becoming deadly at this point. Like, what is his 3-point percentage in this playoff series so far, Chad? I would not be shocked. Well, I guess I don't know if there was like a bad game in there early, but I would not be shocked. 2 for 8, 2 for 9. I guess 3 for 6. We're giving him a lot of credit for this last game, but I wouldn't be shocked if his 3-point consistency anyways just continued to level up. Do they have the series numbers on here? So he's 39% for this series anyways. Oh, that's from the field. 29% from 3. Okay, scroll back up, chat. Never mind. Just for the last game anyways. A consistent 3-point shooter. But it's like, okay, but that goes to what we're saying. They've relied a lot on Westbrook, and of course just Jokic just being insane, and Murray. I mean, obviously you need your guys to play well, but you need Murray in a extra desperation type of way than you didn't need him before. Like, you're just running on And like we've seen with the Chiefs as well too, with Mahomes and some of these other teams, it's like, okay, you just get to how far can we, but how far can we stretch out the top end talent of this team? And I guess, how much can we rely on it? Maybe it's a better way to say it, Chad. How much can we rely on the top end talent and continue to try to replace the, cost effective and long term setting yourself up and just all these different pieces you can put around your team? But it's like, okay, still want Tatum for a title run when he gets back healthy. I get the Achilles thing is scary. Maybe it's just scarier for Celtics fans because they're in it. But from the outside looking in, I'm not as worried about his ability to make a recovery in that aspect. And again, maybe it's modern medicine as well too. It's a great place that we're in, that we've seen a lot of these guys recover from this Achilles injury in a great way. But especially with him at the spot that he's in his career, and I feel like maybe even, it starts getting sketchy going, some of the NFL guys. But I feel like we've even seen some NFL guys have some Achilles tears and bounce back. And, I was going to throw out a name like, for some reason, the first Achilles tear I think of, chat, in the NFL is Chris Conley. Because that highlight of that, when he tore his Achilles, he had like this ripple in his calf. That was it was very obvious. And I don't know, it stuck out apparently. But but I feel like even Chris Conley came back to Chris Conley levels, But as I say that, I feel like we didn't really hear from him much after that, so who knows? But I feel like Tatum, I'm pretty confident with his ability to return. So it's like, okay, if I'm trying to win a title, I still want Tatum going forward. I still wanted Jaylen Brown. I get maybe this was not as good of a playoffs as it was last year, but the way he played in the last game, there's definite stuff that's like, oh yeah, of course, this combo is a championship level combo. Derek White is a guy that you want for your team if you're winning a title. I think Pritchard is still a guy that you want on your roster. Maybe Cornette proving to be a piece as well too is like an encouraging thing for them going forward, that they're like, okay, we can make these moves because here's a guy on our roster that is potentially just going to be able to get more minutes and contribute in a great way. But let's see what they're looking like here with the salary situation. Is Cornette a free agency? Is Cornette going to make himself a lot of money in this playoff run? He actually might be a free agency, chat. He's not popping up here. Or he's just like a non-guaranteed 1 year sort of ordeal. Okay, we're going to have to go to the main page track. Pull up the SPO track. Pull up the actual cap information. Let's see. Luke Cornette. Just go straight to the source. Stop messing around. Let's get the numbers real, chat. Let's see what we got here. 1 year, $2 million. So, I don't know. Is Luke Cornette $10 million next year, chat? Do you actually have to pay Luke Cornette some money? Is Luke Cornette playing himself off the Celtics roster? Maybe he's a guy, though, that's like, yeah, you know what? I'll take 5. $5 million? A lot of money. I will win a championship. Maybe a time or two. Or I guess another championship. He has one already. Luke Cornette, already a champion, chat, so who knows? Maybe he's connected in that way. Shireman, J.D. Davison, and Jordan Walsh, I guess, is like the next generation of talent on the Celtics. Could be a nice young wave, I guess. Hauser at $10 million, of course, is a name that people are like, Hauser's out the door, chat. Porzingis is an interesting one because at his peak, I mean, again, him and Brown and some of these guys, like they won him the finals. Like his mismatch and offensive ability to just heat check over these mismatches was just absolutely lethal to Dallas. And him being on a 1 year, he's only 29, chat, is crazy. I kind of shocked when I just saw that, to be honest. I would have guessed at least 31, but shout out to Porzingis. He's not even 30 yet, so Porzingis, keep him around. Keep him around. What are we doing? I guess Holiday at 34 again is another questionable one, but I also just don't know if they're needing / requiring the same stuff from Holiday as they have in the bed. Maybe it's just he's also not as capable. I don't know, chat, but it does seem like when he gets, again, like on some drives and stuff, he's still kind of pretty effective. Maybe just the 3-point shooting is kind of the thing at this point. They're like, okay, maybe this is starting to turn a page. It was 35% from the regular season for the playoffs. I honestly can't really picture him taking that many threes so far. He's 37.5% from 3. So he's not, 35, you start going, oh, okay. That's a bit of a dramatic slip, chat. 43% to 35. But 37 still gets you back in that respectable range, even though he was 40% last year when they won the finals. He was only 30%, though, from the entire playoffs the year that they won the finals in Milwaukee. What was he for some of those last series, though? And I feel like his shot making, the timeliness of some of his threes, maybe a little Iguodala-ish, where better time threes than better three-point percentage. 36% in the finals. Yeah, 40. Oh, wait, we're looking at field goal percentage again. So, yeah, just a couple of bad series there, the first couple, and 37% in the Eastern Conference Finals. 31% in the finals. Not great, but Giannis was fantastic, so you don't even need Jrue Holiday. When Giannis is scoring like a 40 and 10 and 8 or whatever he was putting up in the finals back then, but 42% in the actual finals itself last year with Boston. And back he was 3 for 7 in the entire first round for against Orlando, 6 for 17 in this series against the Knicks, and he is that 35% that we saw in the regular season in this series. And the Knicks have pushed the lead to 20, chat. Josh Hart, a little 5-8-5 right now. Kind of nearing the triple-double for the first half. He got the triple-single anyways for the first half, but the triple-double, McBride with the vicious swat on Derek White. Usually Derek White's the one with the vicious block, chat. Now it's Deuce McBride? What's happening? Deuce McBride. Maybe he's a guy that sounds like, can we have Deuce McBride? I don't know what his contract looks like. But I get it if, from the real basketball sense, if you want to get creative and try to recreate the roster in a different way for salary stuff, I think you could still, again, with Tatum and Brown, once Tatum gets back healthy, and I guess Derek White being older than Porzingis is actually a little bit shocking. Hauser at 27. And I guess is Pritchard the piece, chat? Pritchard's 27, though. Pritchard's at the peak of his powers right now. These are Pritchard's prime years. But he was so he could be 17, 18 a game in the regular season next year. And I do think that without Tatum, it still is a fun regular season team if they bring back a lot of these guys, obviously, because, again, I think Pritchard can elevate a lot of they can put together some regular season points and stuff, I think. Just with the chemistry and the collective professionalism of the team. Like, you can still win 45 games, chat, with a all-NBA player like Jaylen Brown, and it almost gives you Celtic vibes of some of those teams from the early 2000s, where it's like, just maybe not the same, like, okay, player for player comparison stuff, like it's Jaylen Brown, Paul Pierce, who's Antoine Jameson, all this stuff, but just like, oh, this team's kind of frisky. Like, you wouldn't think that this could be a fun playoff run type team, but now they're competing in the regular season. Now they're making runs. So is, Missoula, I guess, better than Patino, or who's ever the coach back then. Missoula's already got a title, chat, so he might be. But the closed captions are covering up the score for this game. Oh, it's 70-58, Minnesota. So they've pulled away here a little bit in the third quarter, showing their championship chops, chat. They should have a little score ticker going for the rest of the scores. What are we doing? I want to know what else is going on in the WNBA, chat. We're going to have to look up the rest of the scores ourselves here. But I guess, hot take, don't trade Jaylen Brown in the offseason, chat. If you're the Celtics, I know, make no mistake, you're going to see you may see a couple of Jaylen Brown fake trades in the offseason just because they're fun to cook up, chat. And Jaylen Brown, by no means are we actually meaning to we don't actually mean the trades. We're just messing around, chat. It's just 2K sometimes. But in real life, unless there's like a Davis for Luka thing that you could flip, and you're like, whoa, what is happening? Unless Nico Harrison calls and it's like, Jaylen Brown's the missing piece for the finals, but you take the number 1 pick for Jaylen Brown. You're like, wait a second, what's going on? Is that a segment, chat? Do we just cook that up right now? Like, what are the craziest moves that Nico Harrison could trade the number 1 overall pick for you? You're like, again, in sort of the Davis, like maybe people like me are like, Jaylen Brown's a good player, though. Jaylen Brown's a good, I'd be right there, chat. Jaylen Brown's a good player. Jaylen Brown, Anthony Davis, and I guess they wouldn't have Cooper Flagg, but Jaylen Brown and Anthony Davis? I don't know, that's a fun team. The West is terrifying. So I don't know. Is it better than Giannis and Wemby? Oh, wait a second. Giannis is not on the Spurs yet, chat. We can't pencil them in as a combination for the playoffs next year. But are they better than? Well, chat. I don't know. Jaylen Brown and Davis. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good combination. It's two all NBA guys. Is it better than, the regular season depth of the Thunder and the way they're playing the playoffs now? Who knows what the Timberwolves look like next year with the Julius Randle piece, and if he's like a re-sign guy, if he's a sign and trade, or Dillingham more minutes, chat. But Jaylen Brown for the #1 overall pick would be funny. I guess maybe it's just players. Who are the players that he could trade the #1 overall pick for? I guess that does feel like a segment, chat, because I'm watching Jaylen Brown right now. I mean, I don't think Jaylen Brunson as well too. It's like, whoa, wait a second. Now we're getting too spicy. Knicks fans, I mean, they wouldn't trade Brunson for a Cooper Flag. Oh, Josh Hart with the Porzingis armpit right to the face. The swipe through by Porzingis, most of the time you get an elbow. Maybe you'd rather catch an elbow in that situation, chat. Hey, yo, that's aggressive. That's wild, chat. That's a full, every bit of Porzingis pit sweat just wiped off on Josh Hart's face right now. That's crazy. That is levels of basketball that, for even a guy like me, as much as I love basketball, and I feel like I can get competitive, chat. I can get, for the love of the game, like that sweaty, shirtless post-up guy in the park. I guess I'm not necessarily, physical defense down low, but I'll double if you need to. If you need me to double, if he gets too deep in position pause, I'll get down there and help you play defense on that guy. But a full armpit to the face, right to the nose, chat, right to the NCIS, the Naval Academy, whatever. Hey, yo, that was wild. Yeah, they did send Josh Hart to the bench. Has anybody ever taken a shower at halftime, chat? I mean, I might. Or at least, hopefully he brought like his little exfoliating scrub with him for after the game. Looking good for the post-game conference. But, I get Game 6 celebration. You're moving on to the next round. I don't know if you bring is this a weird question, chat? What's the shower, not the shower routine, but like, hey, yo. But are we talking like full face product? Like, is it the full routine, or is it just quick after the game? Because we're not talking locker rooms here, chat. We're talking professional sport. We're talking the Knicks locker room at Madison Square Garden. We're talking about bathrooms nicer than any bathroom, and it's probably a nicer bathroom than any bathroom that I've ever used or lived in. So we have cute, nice bathrooms all over the place, chat. I'm not dissing any of those rooms. I'm just saying it's not necessarily, I think, or like a gym locker room where you're like, oh man, as much as if I need to get ready at the gym, like, I guess I could throw together some, throw some hair products in the bag and stuff like that. But it's like, it's not the ideal place for, at least for me, chat. Again, but I'm not, and the gym that I go to is nice because I guess I don't think any gym anymore has got like community shower situations. Maybe some YMCAs and stuff like that, which is, I feel like for 2025 still like a wild move. But at least for the gyms in town here, it's you get a shower curtain, you get a nice little little cubicle shower situation to get some privacy, chat. But hey, what rabbit hole is this? Gym shower rabbit hole is crazy. It's crazy. We don't even have gray hair yet, chat. I feel like this is a rant for many, many years from now. What's going on with the gym showers these days? But I guess when the Knicks are are they edging in on the 30-point lead? Hey, yo, 30. What are they doing? They're starting to do the 3-point percentages. In their wins, they shot this. In their losses, they shot this. Missoula? Maybe Missoula. Who's the biggest winner from the Tatum injury? Joe Missoula? I don't know if he was on the hot seat after this playoff series, but it was a little like, okay, the eyeballs are starting to point. Again, I think the players, you mix up the roster in the offseason in some little ways, and then you see what Missoula is able to do with a little bit of change in that way, and okay, adjusting, plugging new guys into the system, making sure they fit around the superstars, making sure that, again, they still remain a competitive team. Like, how is he able to get this all to work? But it is a bit of, and maybe, again, the playoff series for two competitive teams like this, it can be tough for the coaches where you can get a little overreact. I think overreactive is the right word. And maybe there is even still in this series, maybe there's a version where you walk away and go, okay, is Tom Thibodeau the right coach for the Knicks? Is Mazzulla the best version? But, it's always going to be a comparison of what, of course, is the next best option. But again, Mazzulla versus Thibodeau, like, those are two. I feel like if the coaches could get fired and then hired for each other in a playoff series that they lose, like, maybe you shouldn't fire your coach. Or just maybe you shouldn't hire another coach. Like, just go in a completely different direction instead of Mazzulla's like a younger guy. Maybe the completely different direction would be the old veteran, just, Doc Rivers, chat, bring him back. But, or Van Gundy or something like that, just who's the established guy that's like, okay, do we think Van Gundy's going to win a title? If he's on the Celtics, honestly, chat, are we cooking? Van Gundy on the coaching the Celtics? Sorry, Mazzulla. Back to the second round, Joe Mazzulla. Hey, yo, chat. Hey, yo. Van Gundy, Joe Mazzulla, row swapping. Hey, yo. But, Mazzulla brings the 3-point, the spacing, the analytical, offensive stuff to the team, and Van Gundy's going to bring this defensive side of things that, again, maybe with the Holiday and Horford combination as well too on the team. And Horford's another one that we should mention. But Horford, he still feels valuable. I know he's not full level Horford in the same way, Chad. Hey, yo, but is he a free agent as well too? Ooh, Chad, it's a dicey one. If you're already $20 million over the second apron and Horford's not on the books, maybe that Xavier Tillman 2.5 minimum's not looking too bad at that point. And again, Cornette, you're like, okay, well, are we going to re-sign Cornette and Horford? Maybe it becomes like a reverse bidding war and Cornette versus a pay cut war. It's like, okay, who wants a bigger discount? Al Horford or Luke Cornette to play on this Celtics team? But you get Van Gundy's defensive mindset in there, and I don't know if Mazzulla's like, I'll be your assistant on the team that I was just the head coach, but a little Popovich, like, step up, back in the front office to coach, back to the front office. Mazzulla, assistant to head coach, back to assistant. Has that ever happened before, chat? I feel like it's happened in the NFL. There's definitely been an NFL guy. There's been some interim stuff that have done that, but as like the guy getting promoted to the actual head coach, coaching multiple seasons, and is like, oh yeah, I'll be the assistant for the next guy. It's definitely had to have, but not in a high-profile way that I can remember anyway. So Mazzulla has a chance to be the first in that regard when they bring in Jeff Van Gundy in the offseason. But maybe Jeff Van Gundy back to New York. But either way, because I'm thinking, like, the Lakers, like, all these head coaches over the last couple of years that have gotten fired, there have been, reasons for it, and I think moves that have been made where you're like, okay, I get that they're shaking this up here. Like, Vogel was a guy for the Lakers that, was it a little bit more surprising that he won the title? Is like that, the more, it's, again, shout out to his defense for what that team was as well too. It's all about the fits and stuff like that. And, you're playing with a great guy, LeBron, who can just make up for everything else. And LeBron and Rondo offensively, especially, like, is there a perfect team to make up for some of Frank Vogel's weaknesses as a head coach, chat? But Budenholzer as well too with Milwaukee. Like, as much as I don't think Budenholzer would have been, much better in this situation than Doc Rivers. And let's see. Testing one. Doc Rivers, maybe not perfect with all the quotes, but we weren't following the Milwaukee blogs maybe as we should have been to see if there was like stories about his relationships with the teams and stuff like that. But Doc Rivers always seems like a guy that, or at least with this team, maybe there's not too much. Maybe there's just like so much disconnect that nobody's just like everybody shows up, goes to work, and goes home. Like maybe that's exactly what this team is, chat, at this point. But there's just been some, a lot of the high profile coaches have been moved on from him. And I guess this just goes to every level with what we're saying with the Celtics. Like this team just won the title a year ago. Like Tatum got hurt in the playoffs. This Knicks team was in a way, built to beat the Celtics. Not too unlike, we mentioned the Timberwolves Nuggets series from last year already, like not too unlike that. But that's another one where, and they didn't have the KCP, Bruce Brown bench combinations to look at and go, okay, do we need to try to start trading KCP? But, maybe they could have been like, do we need to move Gordon for this piece, or Porter Jr. for this piece, or Murray for that, who knows, whatever, chap. But, it's like, let's keep the core guys around. They still had Braun, so you're not going to trade Braun. His trade value is too valuable right now, chap, for the Nuggets. Braun cannot be moved. But they just, it's just sometimes the matchup, and again, the way that Jokic played in Game 7, as much as you kind of block that out of your mind because he's such a great player and has had so many great playoff performances that, you're not going to give him that one, but it's still like, okay, again, they're kind of in Game 7 because Jokic is so amazing. But he did not, the Timberwolves played really good defense on the Nuggets in that series as well, too. So it's a little bit of combination of both, but the numbers weren't there all the way around for Jokic. And for the Celtics this year, of course, the three-point shooting wasn't there for him in the playoffs. And again, it's the Tatum thing is obviously what makes you think dramatically like this. If Tatum just gets, if they just get eliminated with everybody healthy, it still becomes a conversation of, okay, what do we do? Because again, the team is expensive, and apparently the new owners are not willing to just, for nostalgia purposes or whatever, just keep paying these NBA owners are so rich now that you can't. 500 million is crazy. I'm not necessarily great with the percentages. Like, what percent of a billion is that? But and how many billions do these guys have? And it's ownership groups are just like all out of. What's that guy's name, Chad? Is it is Pagula the guy that bought the Celtics? Obviously, Grossbeck was the guy that owned it before, but I forget their Ishbia is the last new owner that I want to, because he wasn't necessarily like, the Durant move, he made the basketball moves that made an impact, but he himself he was talking a little crazy. Ishbia entered the league swinging for sure. Pagula, I don't know if he's necessarily been as riled up to start, but again, he bought the team in the middle of the season, and did the Sun sale go down in the off season? I don't remember, chat, where the timeline of all that stuff, and different types of sales as well too. So the Grossbecks obviously just looking to make a profit on their on their investment. But yeah, for the Celtics, chat, guess what? This team is good. The Knicks are also really good. Brunson, we said going into the series, and the Tatum Brown thing, as much as we're Brunson's just an amazing player, and amazing in these fourth quarters, and amazing in these close games. And like I was saying, if Tatum is playing the best version of Jayson Tatum that we've seen, it's no discredit to Jayson Tatum. It's just Brunson is that good in fourth quarter. Brunson is, I forget, was it Mike Breen on Russillo's pod talking about, would he be, like a top 5 guy consensus in the league if he won a title? And I don't know if he starts entering, because Steph wasn't just a guy that was also impacting games. He was also just impacting the game itself. Like, he was literally changing the way basketball is played. So, but if you think about guards taking teams to finals, though, of course, he is the notable guy from this era to be doing that. And if Brunson joins that group chat, and to be honest, even the conference championship thing as well, too, like, Dame got there, and maybe Halliburton going back-to-back years as a guard, it's like he needs to start getting his love in that, and as we've been saying as well too, in that top, I was gonna start saying top 10, and even I can't be like, well, just lock him into the top 10. So even still now, it's like a little Halliburton bias. So more motivation for Halliburton, chat. But top 15, Halliburton over Booker, we have to lock it in at this point. I guess so, chat. I guess so. And Halliburton's made more conference finals than Booker at this point. At 2, Booker's been in a finals. Halliburton a little bit younger, a little bit more offensive responsibility than Booker. Booker obviously won the title when he had a point guard like Chris Paul. Halliburton, Chris Paul, and Booker rolled up into one. Hey, yo, chat. Now we're talking crazy. But it was kind of like, wait a second. That's not too far off. It's not too far off. Obviously, he's not fully Chris Paul and Devin Booker, because that player would be one of the greatest players of all time. And maybe Halliburton's on his way, chat. But Brunson is that good of a player that the Knicks in close games could have won this series again, regardless of what the Celtics and all these guys could have done. And this is just a team that I think, and this is just a matchup that is a tough year, tough matchup. The Tatum Brown thing, of course, again, there's going to be questions to the whole, and maybe the coaching thing is the questions that you would ask. I don't know. But I'm not looking to get too dramatic if I'm the Celtics in the offseason. And I guess I'm double talking a little bit. I don't mind necessarily adding in. You got to add and adapt and be different and change a little bit. But the idea of just these massive shakeups and stuff, like, I don't think the Celtics are a team that needs to be looking to be too drastic with that stuff. Like I think the Porzingis trade has to be, obviously it has to be a really smart trade. And especially with the way you have to match contracts as well too. But, you can kind of split the stuff. But Porzingis is, with him as an expiring, like, you're going to take Porzingis and trade him for 2 smaller contracts that go for like 2 or 3 more years. Or you just have Porzingis for 1 more season and pay a massive tax bill, and then you're kind of free. Here, like, let's look at their tax bill for the next season. Because you would still have Holiday and White, like a lot of the guys still on the books. But if you have, again, if you're thinking, let's just not necessarily need to trade these guys in the offseason and then be willing to take a little bit of, I don't know what the timeline is for, like, well, you have to pay your luxury tax bill. I don't know if it's like going into the start of the season or if it's more at the end of the season where you could like trade deadline some stuff and real, last minute dump some salaries, mix up some stuff. I guess you couldn't necessarily clear out your books in a major way, but maybe save a lot of the money in the tax side of things. But for, I guess, the Celtics, anyways, next couple of years, again, Tatum Brown on pretty big extensions. Derek White signed through 27-28. 32.5. That's not going to look too bad in 27-28, I guess. Pritchard locked down on this contract is nuts, Chad. Pritchard might have to just play worse. Just play like a $7 million a year player. Jesus, Pritchard. 6th man of the year and 4 years, $7 million a year? What are we doing here? Shireman a couple of years. So 25-26. But again, Holiday, a couple of years off the books. I don't even think Holiday's like that bad of a trade asset at this point. Again, maybe I'm just a delusional Holiday fan, but 32 million, it's not like they're going to be throwing a pick on there to get rid of the Holiday deal. I don't know, draft night, you have your number 28 overall pick, like that, who would be left at 28 that you'd get the contracts and stuff to start mixing up like that. I guess, where are they going to start making moves with the Knicks after they just lost to lost to them in a playoff series, just played them in a playoff series. Pacers, I guess the Cavs, are they going to start saying like Drew Holiday is the missing piece? The Pistons, the Kevin Durant, they're definitely going to be, the Pistons are going to be big game shopping this year for sure. But the league, if the league is rigged and they want Giannis to go to San Antonio, maybe they want Durant to go to Houston, then maybe the Detroit's on the outside looking into the stars. So maybe Drew Holiday is the next best bet, Chad. Or like Franz Wagner for the Pistons. I don't know why the Magic would do that. But Holiday to the Lakers, Holiday to the Nuggets, chat. Like, would you start thinking about some like Porter Jr. for Holiday type stuff? I don't know. I know there were some Ben Simmons rumors, but I get that was Ben Simmons in free agency. He's not necessarily on that big number anymore that he was. So that could be an interesting one where you go expiring, try to shorten the contract anyways. So maybe like a Holiday for Van Fleet. I know Simmons was bringing up Van Fleet as one of the contracts, and that was something I was like, that would be good to go look at as well too, especially for this year because of the way that you have to match salaries. But the ones that are like non-guaranteed to where you could dump them off the books before chat, but you could clear the cap space before the season started. So you're making the trade for the salary, but again, you're knowing that that salary is not going to be there off season or whatever. So I don't know if the Rockets are like, okay, yeah, let's lock in the Drew Holiday contract for the next couple of years. Or maybe, a team like the Grizzlies that just, maybe they need a veteran like that in their chat. I don't know if you start piecing together some of the younger assets, and it's not like they have the bigger contract to match. So I guess maybe they have the space. I guess the Grizzlies do have some space, chat. But is it going to be Clark for Holiday? Conchar for Holiday? Yeah, they just don't really have anything to match. unfortunately. So I don't know. We don't need to necessarily do Drew Holiday trade machine, I guess. Clippers, Drew Holiday for like Norm Powell for Drew Holiday. Norm Powell's 20 points a game, chat. I don't know. Bogdanovich at 16, like Bogdanovich and Derek Jones Jr. for Holiday, something along those lines. Those guys on 2-year deals, though. The Clippers with this timeline, maybe they're thinking, everybody off the books in 2 years by now, 2 years from now, for sure. But I think there's definitely still a pretty good spot for Holiday. I don't know, maybe Pritchard. Maybe you have to pair Holiday and Pritchard together, and then say, what do we get back for that? Pritchard's like the bait, chat. Maybe you can snag a bigger contract where you're like, we're out in the, Siakam, chat, the Pacers don't make the finals. Holiday and Pritchard for Siakam, Siakam's too good for that trade. That's crazy. Sorry, Pacers fans. That one doesn't count. Maybe the Hawks? Holiday to the Hawks, $32 million. You got Terrence Mann at $15 million. Okay, so we'll take Terrence Mann contract. Not going to necessarily save us any money. Or do you just go like, hey, how desperate are you to move on from Trae Young? It's probably going to hopefully get some picks and stuff in return for that. But maybe the Hawks are thinking differently now in the Trae Young trade process after. Because I don't think that the Trae Young trade process hasn't been going on. Oh, chat, the ESPN ticker says Aaron Gordon in doubt for Game 7. Oh, so he had the little hammy issue in the last game, but yikes, chat. No Gordon. The Nuggets without their second best player. Murray offensively had moments in the last game, but that is a yikes, chat. Nuggets fans not feeling good. Thunder fan with a big sigh of relief, chat. Niang, you get Niang for $8 million. Where was he at? Terrence Mann, where did he go? $15 million. Yeah, here he is, chat. $23 million. We need one more little contract in there. Not Recherche. Larry Nance no longer on the Hawks to be traded, chat. So Noah Kongwu. Maybe they could just take the rest of the space. Oh, so close. $1.2 million. Okay. So we don't need a big contract. Barlow? Barlow's not bad, chat. Pick up the team option on Barlow. Maybe the Celtics want Vit Krejci? I don't know. 10.8 on the PPR, the PER. He had some moments. I definitely can picture him playing in an NBA game. I honestly don't know if he's a good or bad player. He might be just the most neutral player in the NBA, chat. Vit Krejci? I don't know. How do you say this guy's name? Do we get a pronunciation guide on here for a guy Vit? There's no way that name's not. Is that short for something? Vitaly? Maybe it's short for Vitaly. No, just Vit. Vit! Our guy Vit! Vit Krejci. Oh, Vit Krejci, chat. Shout out to Vit Krejci. Oh, he is not bad. Look at these percentages, chat. Somebody get Vit Krejci some more minutes. Last 2 years in Atlanta, 49% from the field on 4 shots a game, 42%, 41% from 3, and then up to almost 50% from the field on 5 shots a game, and 43% from 3. So Vit, chat. The Celtics get Vit. Maybe the Hawks want to keep him around. 24 years old. He's too valuable. This trade might be a steal, chat. The Celtics, pay attention. We're giving you the formula right here. Terrence Mann, Niang, and Vit Krejci for Drew Holiday. Here's the trade, chat. So Boston, listen up, because as the second half is about to approach, we're gonna celebrate the 15th anniversary of a classic, chat. I don't know, is classic the right term? But Queen Latifah's in it, so it counts as a classic. But Queen Latifah helping Common return to the Eastern Conference Finals. They could have brought in Queen Latifah for this game, chat. Then maybe Jayson Tatum would have had a chance. Achilles injury is down bad, but maybe Leslie Wright is the only athletic trainer out there that could have put together the regimen. I don't know, Tatum, he's a family, got it. Yeah, I guess I don't know the status of Tatum's relationships, but I don't want to necessarily say, interject some drama in there, but just in terms of the training abilities of Queen Latifah, chat, that I think could be useful. So Vit Krejci and Queen Latifah to save the Boston Celtics. in 2025. Lock it in, chat. But yeah, coming up, chat, second half. We're going to throw on, of course, we're going to keep watching the rest of this game. But unfortunately, the WNBA, maybe the NBA goes to the side, chat. If the fourth quarter looks bad, the NBA will definitely go to the side. But for now, the second TV is going to get queued up on it. The Queen Latifah Common Classic, chat, 2010, just right. It's on Hulu, so if you want to watch along, get the Hulu fired up, chat. Common and Queen Latifah, Jaylen Brown and Karl Anthony Towns up next. Okay, chat, we have to lock in the second half. Boston cut it to 29. Oh, my people, 30 points. New York. Maybe this is not just the game that they needed to, they needed a win. They needed the conference championship appearance, chat. But this type of dominant performance, just like we're saying, as much as the Celtics, we can always double talk depending on the results, chat. But as much as this, both things can be true. They can be a frisky team, but the New York Knicks can still be the superior overall roster without Tatum on the court. And they are, again, some Celtics overall performance stuff, but they are proving themselves the better team tonight. Not necessarily something that they had done regardless of the fact that they were winning the series. And Indiana had their definite come from behind victories as well too. But we saw them in those last couple of games for sure. Really play a much better version of basketball. And by the end of it, of course, they were looking like the much better team in the series. So that can kind of happen, of course, in these playoffs. And that's, again, the greatness of Jokic just being levels up over some of these other guys in the league. Just the Nuggets should be one of those teams that are just falling apart at the end of the season. Their coach is gone. Their players aren't playing that well. Their guys are hurt. Like, their team doesn't make any sense. But Jokic just powering these guys through. Game 7. Aaron Gordon is out. I feel like they should lose that game by also 30 at this point. And Jokic might win the game, chat. Jokic might win the game. I wouldn't be shocked. But, if the Thunder didn't get the way paved for him right. You can't necessarily say the way is paved for him because, again, you still have to take down Jokic in the finals, and him pushing them to the Game 7 at least is a validating thing in the same way. But for them to get pushed to a Game 7 and then all of a sudden, wait a second, the Nuggets' second best player is out, all of a sudden that is again, a big sigh of relief for the Thunder fans. But we'll get the movie queued up here, chat. Pull up your Hulu accounts. Log in, chat. Just Right, featuring Queen Latifah, Common, Paula Patton. Is that the name? Pat Paula? I don't know. I think it's Paula Patton, chat. But she's the chick from one of the people in the tower when Cruz is in that Mission Impossible movie. Is Renner in the tower or is Renner out of the room at that point? Is Renner somewhere else? I forget. Oh no, the other Britishy guy is out of the room. But I think Renner's in the room at that point. And Paula Patton and Tom Cruise is also out of the room scaling the tower. But is there anybody scale a tower in Just Right? Leslie Wright's flying up a skyscraper. I guess this is not the Equalizer, chat. If we want to see Queen Latifah do stunts, then we could watch Set It Off. Make no mistake, chat. Stay tuned. At some point we'll rewatch Set It Off. But I guess for right now it's Just Right. And I have it paused at 2 seconds, I guess. So if you guys start it up now, 1, 2, play, chat. We're going. We're rolling the credits. But unfortunately, again, for Celtics fans, just perfect timing. I don't know. Perfect is not the right word, chat. Just the crazy coincidence, I guess, that the 15th anniversary of this movie would be on the week that Tatum and the Celtics are being eliminated by a New York team from the NBA playoffs due to an injury as well. Of course, for those of you that are unfamiliar, chat, Queen Latifah, physical therapist. And I guess, do you guys need to watch a quick trailer? I don't know if I've ever seen the trailer to Just Right, chat. But, and if tonight couldn't get any more, oh, hey, yo, chat, dropping the phone. If tonight couldn't get any more wholesome, then, just a classic PG Queen Latifah Common rom-com, then there was a sale on Lunchables at the store, chat. So to continue the throwback night, just the wholesome energy of tonight, chat. We got some Lunchables. We got the ham and Swiss, and then the turkey and American, and then this one's got an Oreo in it, chat. So, or I guess not an Oreo, a chocolate. Hey, yo, pause, a chocolate cream cookie. But Lunchables, Queen Latifah, chat. It feels like 2010 all over again almost. But unfortunately for the Celtics, Queen Latifah not really in the NBA, but close, chat. Eastern Conference. Again, I guess the round that he gets, spoiler alert. Do we just let the movie play out and see what happens? But again, New York City. So, is it Scott McKnight? Is that Common's name in this movie? Scott McKnight. He plays for the Nets in this movie. So I don't know what the rights were for them getting teams. Did they just choose Brooklyn? Did they think it'd be more realistic that this would happen for the, or I guess it was New Jersey at this time, chat. It was still New Jersey, and they still got those like Jason Kidd era New Jersey Nets jerseys, which 2010, I don't know if that would have been the actual ones that they had on, chat. Because I'm trying to think, like, Darren Williams was not 2010 when he was in Brooklyn. I think he got there a little bit later, that group assembled. And maybe he did wear the blue and red and stuff in Brooklyn. I thought he just wore when they switched over to the black and white. So maybe that's when I remember the Derek Williams run, when they traded for all those guys. But yeah, I guess he got a couple seasons there beforehand. So he got to New Jersey from Utah in the 2010-2011 season. So if this movie was released in May of 2010, is it being released in real time, chat? So if it's being released and the playoffs are happening at the end of the movie, then is it supposed to be more in correlation? So is it supposed to be the 2010 playoffs? So is Just Right set in it's got to be set in the 2009-2010 season. Otherwise, we're looking at, I don't know what the filming timeline was for this movie. It could have been 08-09, potentially. Lakers winning the finals. Do we need just a New Jersey Nets timeline? Okay, 34 and 48. So I don't know. Scott McKnight, does he have a basketball reference page, chat? Let's see. Oh, unfortunately, Scott McKnight, I guess, didn't actually play in the NBA. Oh, we need to spell his name right, chat. That's the problem. Here we go. Scott McKnight? No? 1T? Chat. Basketball reference. There's a typo. Scott McKnight is missing a page. So, is there a drop box, a suggestion box in here? Questions or comments? Here we go, chat. No Scott McKnight page. We'll go ahead and submit a review after we're done here. But if it's like they film a year earlier and then with all the stuff and the, getting the movie together and promo or whatever, I don't know what the post-movie process of Just Right was, chat. I don't know if this was a movie that needed a long time to edit and be released. But I think we're probably looking at the 2009-2010 season. So this would have been Lakers versus the Magic. This should have been, of course, I think the LeBron versus Kobe year in the finals with Dwight Howard, unfortunately. Oh, no, was that the year before? Do I have it backwards? Okay. I guess LeBron probably could have been in the finals either one of those years. But I was thinking they went Celtics versus Magic, but they went Magic versus Celtics, chat. So shout out, of course. But so maybe this was the 08-09 season, because Dwight Howard's in this movie as well too. So Dwight Howard at the peak of his powers taking the Magic to the finals in 08-09. I guess we don't know. The Magic don't necessarily go to the finals in this movie, though. I don't remember all the teams in the playoffs, chat. We'll just have to get there. But the Knicks are about to go up by 40. It's 43-83. Maybe it's a little... Oh, no, I was going to say, maybe the ESPN was ahead of us. Maybe it got to 40 already. But this is crazy, chat. We're looking for 50 as the biggest deficit of the playoffs at this point. But maybe the biggest deficit of the Eastern Conference this far, the 2-seed Boston Celtics. Yeah, not having your best player, but still, basically wipes away any arguments of feistiness that we had. I guess they did win the last game, so at home, I mean, that's obviously going to help. Brown, Bridges, Brown, ISO. Brown, the pump fake. Bridges with the block. I guess down 43. It doesn't even really matter what the offense looks like at this chat. But who is the first? So Leslie Wright, is she just dating only athletes in this movie, chat? She's not. She sets herself up, of course, as the one, like Paula Patton's like, I'm out there trying. I'm making moves. I'm trying to, network with some people. But Queen Latifah's like, oh, you're trying too hard, but you don't need to be doing all this stuff. And yet, NBA. I was gonna say, is that guy like an NBA player or a quarterback? See, the problem is, I guess I just watched Out of Time, chat. So the guy that Sinai Lathan's with in that movie is a former quarterback. So I think I'm getting that mixed up with the first date in this movie. Does Queen Latifah go on a date with the former quarterback from that movie at some point? Do they I forget, do they say what team he played for? Obviously the movie's set in Florida, but does he play for the Jags in that movie? Is it go Chris to Trevor Lawrence? Is that the timeline? I forget. So stay tuned, chat. Another one that we'll definitely have to rewatch at some point. The watch alongs is gonna get crazy. Set It Off. What did we just say? Set It Off and Out of Time. I mean, chat. The list is stacking up, and I mean, there's already some other crazy ones that are in the pipeline. And the number 16 for the Nets, is that McKnight in this movie? I forget. Do we need a Scott McKnight jersey? There's no way those don't exist. And I guess we could always do up a custom Scott McKnight, but there's no way. There's no existence of a Scott McKnight jersey, chat. Okay, it's not promising. And we've said in the past, we need to just switch to Google, chat. Microsoft, we're calling you out. Step up your web search game. Okay, so Scott McKnight's number 19 in this game. Oh, so yeah, there he is, chat. Common. Balling out. And I think, so they're playing the Magic in this game. We've got Dwight Howard and I think Rashard Lewis on the court. And I don't know if we get any other actual NBA players. But do we see a number 16 for the Nets? Because that's the jersey Queen Latifah has on. So I don't know if she meant to get the Scott McKnight. Like, oh, Queen Latifah. But maybe she was just the number 16. I don't know. Maybe it's a legendary player that we're not thinking of for the Nets back in the day. So this would have been post-Kid as well, too. So Harrell? Was there a Harrell on the Magic? So they got names in the back of the jerseys here. I guess, you got McKnight as well, too. The players' wives section, chat. Now that's just Timothy Chalamet in the front row. Hey yo, chat. Hey yo. So is that supposed to be Jameer? They couldn't get Jameer Nelson for this movie. Queen Latifah begging for the call. She would love the modern NBA, chat. Queen Latifah, just wait 10, 15 years. Make no mistake. You'll get the call. You'll get the call. Oh, Queen Latifah. I forgot about the Obama line, chat. Somebody call Obama because he needs to spend some money on defense. Did they write that or did Queen Latifah improv that? I don't know, chat. But imagine just getting that line as another fan. You're just like, wait a second, what just happened? Queen Latifah just roasted me? You're like, what? I'm just trying to watch a game here. I guess, you're the one trying to pick a fight with Queen Latifah in the stands, I guess. Oh, who's the extra next to Paula Patton? Imagine, chat. You're like, I'm buying row, I get this ticket to just this 17th row seat. You're like, it's a good seat. I'm working my way up in the world. And all of a sudden you're next to Paula Patton and he just leaves? This whole row clears out? I mean, respect, chat, for the, respect for the respect. But you got to at least say hi. Oh, Jalen Rose. I forgot about Jalen Rose. ESPN's Jalen Rose back at the time, chat. And they got ESPN on the mic. On the little cover on the microphone. We actually get yeah, so is this, I guess, Hulu, this is probably a Disney movie. So was Dwight Howard have a Disney contract that we don't know about? Hey, yo, chat. Rashard Lewis. So maybe that's how they're able to get all these guys. Is Common signed to some label that Disney owns back in the day? How did they get Common in this movie? And Common, great job. I think this has to be no, I was going to say this is the number one Common movie, but I think the number one Common movie is probably John Wick 2, Chad. I think that is oh, wait a second. How does Common not pop up before the Common Sunflower? Commonwealth of Independent States? Communism? We get communism before Common the rapper, chat? Hey, yo. Maybe Common needs just one more album. Here we go. We just need parentheses. There's a horse named Common? Hey, yo. But, what is the Common filmography at this point? Oh. Wait, is oh, he is in Brown Sugar, isn't he, Chad? Okay. Hey, yo. The Brown Sugar rewatch. We might just have to do that on our own time to catch back up. But Selma, Barbershop, The Next Cut, Suicide Squad. He's in Suicide Squad as well too, chat? Hey, yo, Girls Trip, Ocean's 8. What's Hunter Killer? Who is in this movie? Gerard Butler and Gary Oldman? They got like a little plot on this? What do we got here, chat? The film stars Gerard Butler and Gary Oldman with Michael Nyquist in one of his final roles. Oh, shout out, chat. Common, Linda Cardellini, and Toby Stevens in supporting roles follows a submarine crew and a group of U.S. Navy SEALs who rescue the captured Russian president from a coup. The U.S. SEALs rescuing a captured Russian president. Russian president? Interesting, chat. But yeah, Gerard Butler and Gary Oldman sounds like a good starring cast with Linda Cardellini in Common. So is Common just one of the crew members on this sub? Is Toby Stevens the Russian president? Is Linda Cardellini is also a crew member, maybe? I didn't know if this was like some Jack... I was going to say not Jack Reacher. Is it Jack Reacher or Jack Ryan? Who's Hunt for Red October? That's Jack Ryan, right, chat? I'm not an idiot. I think Hunt for Jack Ryan? No, yeah. Hunt for Red October is... Because... yeah, Alec Baldwin's in this movie. Yeah, Jack Ryan, chat. Jack Ryan, of course. I mean, iconic stuff. But, okay, so maybe that needs to be added to the watch list, chat. Shout out to that one, I guess. Yeah, Rear Admiral John Fisk is Common's role. So Common in 2018 was a busy man, chat. Hey, yo, are these all live action? Is there like some... Okay, here we go. Smallfoot. Yeah, we got some voiceover. Oh, yeah, The Hate You Give. All About Nina, Here and Now. So he's just taking parts all over the place in 2018. The Kitchen, The Informer, Ava, Alice, Fool's Paradise, and Breathe in 2024. That doesn't... I don't know. Cool poster, chat. So sometimes it's all it takes. Something about low oxygen levels in a full, astronaut type suit. I'm in, chat. I can get behind Oblivion every now and then because of just the setting. It's kind of a cool watch. Also, Ava, I think, is one that we need to add to the watch list as well, too. Common and Jessica Chastain and Colin Farrell. Okay, chat. I think they've talked me into it. Alice. So he's definitely... Oh, Keke Palmer. Oh, chat. I'm in. Keke Palmer and Common. And how have we just not just like made sure to just watch every movie that Keke Palmer's in? That's a mistake by us at this point, chat. So Common, I guess you see him really leaning into more of the action roles at this point. But again, he is good in John Wick 2, so it makes sense. But I don't know. These rom-com movies they're not obviously weird, chat. Oh, wait a second. We're not keeping up with the background. We need like a little just right background to stay in theme. But obviously, is Common acting in this movie? There's levels to this stuff, chat, of course. But sometimes just whatever the pace of the movie is and whatever the dynamic and the chemistry between the two people is, as long as honestly, that's all it is. As long as there is a charming dynamic between the two people, it can kind of work out. And hey, guess what? Common can be a charming guy. And I mean, if we're just doing a charming power rankings, I mean, I think Queen Latifah has an easy number one. Maybe we, bring Obama back, chat. Maybe Obama makes a push for number one as well too. But I don't know, if Queen Latifah was running for president, I think she would definitely make waves. So, she's way up there in the charming power rankings as well. President Queen Latifah? Is that a title that can work, chat? The President Queen? I think the first ever President Queen? That would be kind of cool. But, cool for a lot of reasons, chat, obviously. But, and we're just like, is that just like, wishful thinking? Unfortunately, just, America, chat. It is what it is. But maybe we shouldn't just say it is what it is. You know, hey, be better. But we're talking about just right, chat. We're talking about Common playing basketball. So, do we just get the one game at this point? I think so. We're not paying attention to either thing right now, chat. They got the interaction. I said so. Common and Queen Latifah have met. I forgot how did they actually like stumble in front of each other, but some sort of gas station outside. So why is Common just? I guess an NBA player would pull up to a gas station, but after a game, chat, are you out like? I guess you go out after a game, but are you hitting the gas station? Like I guess if you're going out, then for guys like me, I feel like you're hitting the gas station at some point in the night. But is Common just hitting up the gas station? I guess he's not like a going out type guy. There is not a lot of like, again, I guess it's a PG movie, but there isn't a lot of like, oh, Common and the New Jersey Nets like at the club after the game. So maybe there's another version of Just Right where, I don't know, they delve more into the off-season lives of, or the off the court. I don't know, chat. Maybe this is like an HBO movie. Is like the NBA. Maybe this is maybe this is the Weeknd's next movie, chat. Like the NBA, but the NBA players are just in the club for like 80% of the movie, and it's like, I don't know. There's something about anytime a movie is just set, and I guess again we're way off the Just Right trail, chat. But anytime a movie, I guess maybe Common in John Wick 2. You know, anytime a movie is set in a club, and John Wick, well, no, because you go through the whole club. I guess, you know, the club in John Wick 2 almost ascends a club, chat. Like, that's something else. But, because they're like partying in like a coliseum? Hey, yo, chat. We're just somehow, Common's involved, so somehow we just turn this into the John Wick 2 watch along. Second TV, I mean, chat, that's 51.89, so we might as well just throw on John Wick 2. At this point, oh yeah, wait, John Wick 2 club. Let's see if we get a good picture. Because there's the definite club scene in the first one. Yeah, I think this is the first movie. Yeah, John Wick club scene. So I think, yeah, because this guy is the first movie villain. And him and Common do eventually, of course, stumble into the Continental when they're fighting. They have a little drink together, little professional, you get the professional courtesy interaction at that point. But when he goes to do the hit in the second one, I guess we could try to rewatch the scene without getting taken down, but whatever, chat. When he goes to do the hit in the second one, to start it off, and I believe it's Rome, I think they're like partying in a coliseum over there. So that's like crazy. But any like rapper, you know, on the rise type movie as well too. There's always, I think All Eyes on Me has a bunch of like in a club, maybe Notorious as well too. Just them just in a club, just hanging out. That just always works, chat. So maybe there's an NBA version of that movie. But Common, for the most part, he's kind of a pretty good guy in this movie, chat. Kind of just, I mean, you know, there's obviously, you know, I mean, he's a little indecisive, obviously. But I think for the most part, he's walking a good line here. But I forget what, oh, this is birthday party. Okay, so the birthday party invite after, I guess, a little sketchy by Common. You invite Queen Latifah to the birthday party. She shows up with Paula Patton. And all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, Paula Patton? But, I mean, you know, what do you do, chat? I guess the problem is, I guess we would just know it's Queen Latifah. So we're like, Queen Latifah, I know you're just trying to pretend to be Leslie Wright for right now, but we're sorry to blow your cover, Queen. I don't know if you're filming a movie right now, but we know it's actually you. So I just, you know, I just want to hang out with Queen Latifah. Is Queen Latifah at this Knicks game? Or is she actually a Nets fan? Or is Queen Latifah just a fan of a whole nother team? Chat, where's Queen Latifah from? Where's like her hometown? For some reason I don't know where that is. Is it New Jersey? Born in New Jersey, so maybe she is a Nets fan, chat. Maybe Queen Latifah is actually an NBA Nets fan. Let's see, Queen Latifah NBA game. Do we have any courtside Queen Latifah sings national anthem 2015. Maybe they were celebrating the 5th anniversary of just right. Queen Latifah and Jennifer Hudson. Oh, paid homage to Kobe. Okay, shout out chat. But yeah. But did she ever go to like what? So is she a Lakers fan? Queen Latifah All-Star Game. Maybe she doesn't associate with an NBA team. Maybe she's just a NBA, just an NBA fan, you know, basketball fan, of course. But yeah, neutral chat, no fan stuff. I guess, you know, obviously she's gonna be at the Lakers games because she's in LA and all that stuff as a celebrity, or Knicks games when she's in New York or whatever. But yeah, I can't really think of like Queen Latifah. Like, there's no like Queen Latifah tweet that's like shout out to the Lakers. Like, I can't believe we won the bubble finals. Like, blah blah blah. So the only photo we have of Queen Latifah in a jersey is this number 16 Nets jersey from the movie. Who again, we still haven't figured out who number 16 actually is. So assuming going forward, you know, she's gonna be wearing a Scott McKnight for a lot of the movie and post movie. Did she get rid of the number 16? Again, once we find out, maybe they traded him at some point. Or again, maybe I guess it is a legend. It's not Kid. It's not Dr. J. So do we get... It's still supposed to be, I guess, normal NBA history. Because again, they have real play. Like, we get Dwight Howard on the Magic and also Dwayne Wade on the Heat in this movie. Dwayne Wade is in this movie. Shout out. And I guess Rashard Lewis is in the movie as well, too. Is there any... Because they go to the All-Star game a little bit later. Sorry, spoiler alert, chat. We're spoiling all the basketball scenes. But that'll be a fun one to go back and see who all do they get in the All-Star game. Because you get Wade, and, you know, a lot of time spent in the Eastern Conference, I guess, on the in-game stuff. But for the All-Star game, you're going to be a little West crossed over. I don't know, 08, 09, do we get like a Pau Gasol maybe in this movie? Duncan, obviously, no movies at all. Does Tim Duncan ever been in a movie? I mean, I should know that. I feel like if he had been the Spurs, there's no way the Spurs like wouldn't post about it as well too. But also that would just be like a fun cameo to get, and somebody just would randomly be like, yeah, we could get Tim Duncan for this movie, and maybe it would actually work. Oh, is there like what's this, like a Tony Parker documentary? Okay, no, actual acting role. Has Tim Duncan ever had a fake name in a movie? Is essentially the question. It doesn't look like it. It's just some ESPN stuff. Spider-Man Homecoming. What is this? Oh, watch the NBA Finals. Okay, so he did an ad for Spider-Man Homecoming. Is about the most acting he's ever done. Can we watch that ad? Are we going to get... I mean... They can't take us down, chat, for watching an ad. Like, that's literally crazy. That is us literally watching a promo for the NBA. And they're like, no, not allowed. Can't be. I mean, we're not even trying to watch Tim Duncan's, like, actual finals highlights. We're trying to just watch... I guess it was Spider-Man, not Iron Man. Let's see here, chat. Spider-Man Homecoming? I guess it's going to be a trailer, though. So, we'll see. We'll risk it, chat. We'll risk it. Oh, boo. Boo the ads. Though, shout out. Culver's does slap, so I can't be mad. Mediacom, who knows, chat. But Culver's is legit. Can't go wrong. What is this? Is the audio gonna get us? RDJ? Maybe we need to run this back with RDJ as Dr. Doom. Can they cast Jon Favreau as Silver Surfer? Is that the right... No, Silver Surfer's Galactus. But does Dr. Doom have some assistant that they could recast like an alternate version of Bucky? That might be the... Or not Bucky, chat. What's his name in the... I don't even know Jon Favreau's name anymore from the Marvel movies. That's crazy, chat. I'm really a bad fan. It's really fallen off that bad. It's not like Hogan or something like that. What is his name in those movies? Jeez. I can't believe... That's crazy, because he's a beloved character as well, too. But, you know, we're thinking... So this is just a full trailer for the movie. Where is Tim Duncan? Where's Timmy? They think they lied to us, chat. Is there just like a super cut of highlights at some point in this? Oh, wait a second. We got Magic in this. Timmy, is he actually in this? Oh, chat, Timmy. Right next to Favreau on the couch. Of course, Timmy not involved in the party whatsoever. Just chilling, watching the game. Iron Man at the game. Playboy, billionaire, philanthropist. The whole resume, chat. Did they put Iron Man in the graphic for ESPN? They might have at this point because I think the world knows. So shout out. That is the most acting Tim Duncan has ever done. And he has never said a word the entire time. So let me... Chat, we have to make sure we're still alive. Is the stream still good? Did we fight off the bots? The YouTube overlords didn't take us down for watching that NBA Finals ad from 2017. That would be... Oh, chat. Look at that. Look at that. We are good to go. We're cooking. Okay. So, shout out Common and Paula Paulette. No! Chat. Unfortunately for Queen Latifah, she's just going to have to let the relationship play out at this point. But 30 points. I mean, is Deuce McBride just going to run the offense at some point? Brunson's still in the game. 10 minutes and 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter. I mean, chat, we might break into a Lunchable at this point. That's where we're headed. If we get to 50, do we get the open the Lunchable? Is that the rule? Maybe 25. Oh, wait a second. It's already 30? Okay, chat. Well, there it goes. Is that a teammate? Apparently, they weren't able to get any other Nets players, but we got him and Paula Paulette on the double date. We're getting a little more... A lot of free throws from Scott McKnight in this game. I know, again, Queen Latifah was complaining for some calls earlier, but a lot of free throws, a lot of drives, and a lot of... he is a little Brunson-y almost. Scott McKnight, a little Brunson-y. Maybe this is, kind of paving the way. Again, you're hoping that there's some Tatum corollaries. Can Tatum return in full form like Scott McKnight? But maybe he is a little bit more with the success of the team this year, chat. It's also the New York corollary as well, too. So, she's popping off. She's in the magazines, chat. It's a great life, and I guess, of course, the relationships that they get into, the people become celebrities, but there's no, I guess she's in the magazines, but she is just a real, presence. You would seem like a lot of them as well, too, find the other roles in, the TV shows as well, and maybe, some of the online social infrastructure back in 2010. There's going to be ad breaks in this Hulu as well, too, chat. Yikes. But, okay, Jake from State Farm is going to pop up 20 times tonight. It is what it is. I forgot it was Common, Queen Latifah, and Jake from State Farm. But, what were we talking about? Scott McKnight free throws? Them making a playoff run? Oh, New York chat, Brunson. Something along those lines. But, yeah, the relationship part. It seems like they're either already celebrities, or, you actually... So I guess she is actively also working on the celebrity throughout the course of this movie. But there is no, she's in a Real Housewives, Basketball Housewives, Paula Paulette version. I guess... what's her name in the actual movie? I forget what her name is in the movie. But she's not doing... Or, the big... She doesn't have, a blog or anything. She just kind of exists as the... So that's not necessarily an uncommon thing either. It's just, she doesn't necessarily... If she could also be putting in some of the career work as well, too, I think, to set herself up for some stuff that, some events that may happen later in the movie, chat. Because, she does have her game plan in this, but maybe, remake this 15 years later. Maybe she's got her own TikTok. And she's like, okay, I've got my followers. I've got my thing. Maybe Scott McKnight already knows who she is as well, too. So it's like Leslie Wright. You invite Leslie. Oh, I didn't know you had Paula Paulette as your sister or whatever. And, I've seen all your TikToks. This is crazy. Maybe then that's how they kind of know each other. And she's kind of famous in that way. So she has her career and she's kind of set up. But again, in this one, she's just kind of, she's just kind of the wife the whole time. But not a bad thing, chat. Shout out. Looking great in the upgraded fits. The upgraded lifestyle definitely suits. I mean, Scott McKnight at this point, of course, a star in the league, max contract. I don't know New York properties all over the place, but I mean, Scott McKnight with an actual mansion, chat. So they go the mansion route for Scott McKnight. I don't know anything about New York real estate in the area, but he's got to be living outside of the actual city somewhere. Obviously, I don't know if we just assume upstate New York somewhere. How long of a drive is it from him? But he spends a lot of time in the house as well too. So, again, spoiler alert, the injury is the theme of the night. But when he gets, and I think the injury is the plot line of the movie. But when he gets injured, of course, he's gonna, a lot of at-home recovery. So it doesn't need to be necessarily traveling with the team. I guess, not a lot of traveling with the team, chat, when he gets hurt. But you have the excuse to stay at home at that point. But it does feel like when he's in New York, of course, he is at home, and this just doesn't feel like a. So I guess I don't know. We need to maybe look at where. Hey, do you want to start Googling New York Nets players' houses to see how close they live to the stadium? But maybe Scott, and especially as a bachelor as well too. I mean, Scott McKnight's gonna have a whole property, so maybe, I don't know, family home, chat. Maybe it was maybe Scott McKnight comes from a good background, but I feel like maybe he goes a little bit more Eddie Murphy in Boomerang is what we got confused there. Eddie Murphy, Boomerang, not Eddie Murphy or whatever we said. But maybe he goes more apartment, penthouse, top floor condo situation if he's by himself, again, playing in New York. Max contract, he can kind of negotiate everywhere, but again, taxes situation, he's not playing in Texas. I don't know if he wants to be like a full-on landowner. Scott McKnight, 2015, request to trade back to the, go to Dallas, go to San Antonio. Scott McKnight on the Spurs. Is Duncan in this movie? That's the question, though. Question of the night, chat. Is Duncan in this movie? Is Ginobili in this movie? Maybe Parker. Maybe Parker would be the most likely Spur to be in a movie from back in the day. Or, I don't know, Robert Horry? Maybe he was in a movie. Again, a couple of Spurs years runs in there. So, common chat, I mean, popping the question early. Did we have a timeline on the meet to the engagement? Queen Latifah, obviously, in shock. The mom, of course, disapproving, chat. So, make sure if the audience is convinced with Paula Paulette throughout the course of this movie, which, I mean, make no mistake, she'll win you over, chat. You always have Common's mom on the side just being like, I don't know. So we need to see if maybe this guy that Common keeps hanging out with in the movie is number 16. I don't know. Maybe this is the teammate. But we need to see if oh wait, I know this guy, chat. What's this actor's name? Who is this? He's in a couple of shows. I don't know of any other movies that I can think of. Is his last name like Starks or something like that? Is his name Malachi Starks? Is he the former safety from Georgia? I don't think so, chat. Oh, Rondo in this game. Spoiler alert, I guess. Maybe he's in the All-Star game. Oh, that's right. Kenny Smith making an appearance. Oh, Brooks, chat. Makad Brooks. Angelo Bembry. Okay, chat. So maybe a relative of DeAndre Bembry. Wasn't that a Atlanta Hawks St. John's player who I kind of liked? I think maybe spelled it a little. Oh, still, I guess technically an active player, chat. Maybe overseas somewhere. Only just now turned 30 this year, chat. 31 on July 4th. Yeah, DeAndre Bembry. Shout out. So I guess he's related to Makad Brooks in this movie. Oh, here we go. Early on. Oh, here's the All-Star game, chat. Marv Albert, Kenny Smith, and who's the other announcer? I forget this guy's name, but he might be the biggest winner for calling the All-Star game in this movie. I don't know if he actually called in the All-Star game. Oh, Fratello, chat. Mike Fratello, the czar. Fratello. So, yeah, there's Wade. We already saw Howard. Howard with the windmill dunk. Lewis with the dunk as well, too. So, yeah, the West, we're not seeing anybody from the West that we recognize. A number 2 in the background. There's a 29 and a number 30, chat. A number 30 in 0809. So, I guess there could be more 30s on other teams besides Steph Curry. That doesn't just have to be a Warriors player in the All-Star game. Common, the full court pressure in the All-Star game on Scott McKnight. Oh, the good old days, chat. 2008. Remember when they used to actually try the defense? Oh, no, chat. It's really the worst fear of anybody. Of course, you know, Tatum going down. Oh, John Legend on the sideline. John Legend just, I'll be on the sideline for this movie at the fake All-Star game. But, I mean, your worst fear, of course, is a injury like this. Because, again, Tatum goes down in a game where it's like, he's, playoff game. He's going to be out there. He has to play. He has to be trying his absolute best. But a game like this, chat, the All-Star game where the coach, the full court pressure has to be the thing because, I mean, Common's doing a lot of over dribbling there, a lot of between the legs, a lot of pivoting, and a lot of planting all the way up the court. Yeah, so we're not seeing no Makad, what's his name, Angelo? No Angelo Bembry in the All-Star game, apparently. They didn't even take him out of the jersey for his surgery, chat. Or wait a second, they didn't actually give him a surgery. Okay, wait, PCL? Tore the PCL, one of 4, I guess, of the ligaments, chat. So not the MCL, the ACL, not the common ACLs that we see. A classic PCL. So what are we actually dealing with a PCL, chat? Is Just Right going to teach us something about you're actually able to fight back from these injuries quickly? So he gets hurt in February, and then, I guess, spoiler alert, he returns at, well, no spoiler alert, chat. He returns at, we'll say, a specific point in the playoffs. So we could figure out what that timeline is in real life, and there is a timeline at some point. They're like, okay, we got a clock here. It's this amount of time. We got to work ourselves back by. But is that actually fit into what would be a PCL injury? So they didn't say the grade, chat. Did they say grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4? PCL is injured in other knee ligament. So they didn't say the other ligaments were damaged. Just the PCL just Scott McKnight's PCL. So grade 3, the ligament is completely torn and the knee is unstable. Grade 2, there's a partial tear and the ligament feels loose. So this could be potentially a grade 2. Partial tear is present in the ligament. It could also be a grade 1 as well too. I mean, with the way Scott McKnight was in pain, maybe the most acting Common's ever done in his career is rolling around in pain after he tore his PCL. But he better hope it turns out a grade 4 just so he looks like he's not, doesn't have a low pain threshold or something like that. Oh, a lot of compression. Oh, that's for managing the symptoms at home. Okay, yeah, so surgery. They're not given a timeline for recovery, though. Prevention. Let's see, chat. I want to know how long it's going to take to potentially recover from a PCL. Let's see. We're just going to have to... We literally have to ask exact on this Microsoft thing. 10 days! Mild injury. So, yeah, grade 1 and grade 2 can be recovered within 2 to 6 weeks. So, we're definitely talking grade 2 PCL tear on Scott McKnight for this. So, maybe a grade 2 PCL tear is a low-key, pretty painful injury. Oh, Nick's almost by 40 again. Sam Hauser 3 went from 37 to 34. Is he going to make it 33? 4-point play? But can the Knicks get to 40? That's the question, chat. So, definitely realistic, I guess, that Scott McKnight could recover. And I guess, chat, if you hear 2 to 6 weeks on an injury, maybe Scott McKnight is a little less dramatic than this in real life. I don't know, chat. So, Scott McKnight, you see the love of the game. 2K video games, of course, in the off time. You love to see it. Of course, the other NBA players have talked about, I mean, maybe they're just justifying they're playing their video games. But, hey, I'll play 2K. It helps, chat. De'Aaron Fox, of course, famously, I think, said that playing 2K helps his actual real-life game. So I guess we'll put that to the test in San Antonio. Mitch Johnson, get him grinding the 2K in the offseason so he gets really good. But, I mean, Leslie Wright taking over, chat, making sure our guy Scott McWright. Hey, yo, he's taking the last name? Scott McKnight. That's how it ends up, chat. The combo last name. They can't decide, so he just becomes Scott McWright. I think is the only correct way to do it. But okay, chat. I almost want to open the Lunchable with the Oreo first. But oh well. We'll get this appetizer one out of the way before we get to the actual Oreo one, chat. I mean, chat, I'm looking forward to it already. It's crazy. I'm just going to be making side eyes at this little Oreo Lunchable the whole time. It is what it is. Ritz Cracker, chat. Down the hatch. Memory shop. Maybe not the best pod snack, but still iconic. Great stuff. So, I mean, Leslie Wright winning the approval of the mom right away. Again, just an important guiding compass in the movie. The problem is, then you just cut to the next scene and Paula Paulette is over on the Peloton, chat. So, I mean, that's another... I mean, Peloton trainer, that could be a good one. That could be a realistic... And it maybe... You know, I guess fitness is not necessarily a thing that you see throughout the movie. It's not like there's a ton of her and Leslie at the gym scenes or whatever. But, you know, just being in this environment, you assume it. I mean, you can imagine just a quick visual. Seems like fitness is not absent from the picture. So if she was like a Peloton instructor in 2025, I think that might, because again, you know, TikTok, everybody's TikTok, chat. That's basic. You know, she's not gonna, I don't think she's like a Twitch streamer, like doing Fortnite or stuff like that. But if she was like a Peloton trainer with a crazy Instagram, like I think that's a realistic. And then she showed up to the birthday party and Scott McWright like, I was you know, using your Peloton class this morning. I guess I don't know how many NBA players actually use the Peloton bikes and have the subscriptions and stuff like that, but I imagine there's a couple, chat. I imagine there's been a couple of NBA player Peloton interactions over the course of whatever, but you know, I think that's now the new #1 job for Paula Paulette in this hypothetical career is a Peloton trainer. So, you know, we were fortunate to get the one NBA game. I guess we did say that we were going to switch to WNBA, chat. Let's see what else is on, because of course they were running that Wings game. Have we switched into another game at this point? The Lynx were starting to, I think, show themselves as the better team. And that one, oh no, chat! We just switched the just right. Pause your movies! I guess if you're in an ad break, like we were. Tubi, we pulled up Tubi on the wrong TV. Okay, back to just right, back to Hulu. Give us a second, continue watching. Where's it at? Here we go, chat. Fire it up. Resume movie. 3, 2, 1. Are we going again? Maybe we'll skip the ad break, sneaky. Who knows? Oh, no, chat. They know what they're doing. We're going to have to rewatch the whole thing. But Scott McKnight limping off on crutches after crumpling to the floor after falling off the training table. Okay, NBA. Shout out to the Boston Celtics. I guess with 3:41 left, chat, we're turning the season off. Jordan Walsh is in the game. That means it's time to move on. That's the sign. The Knicks fans are staying in the arena, chat. Knicks fans back in the conference finals for the first time in 24 years. It's crazy that it hasn't even been a conference finals, and it's been one of the longest active droughts just in general. In, I want to say sports. I mean, the NBA for sure, but I want to say, you know, teams making their respective conference championship games, it's way up there. It hasn't been since the 2000 Eastern Conference Finals, so the 99-2000 season that they have been in the conference championship game. But this year, obviously, is going to break that streak. Brunson's the perfect player. The Towns trade, the Bridges trade, all the pieces working together. It's great that this can happen. So, oh, chat, a little Sparks versus Valkyrie. Okay, so we get the new expansion team with the Valkyrie. We'll see what kind of players they're able to get in the expansion draft. What kind of, talent they were able to scour across the face of the league. They didn't consult the REMINGTOM pod, so we'll see if there's any names that would stand out. But also the Sparks as a young team with some fun players. And Kelsey Plum. Kelsey Plum in prime time. Kelsey Plum with her own team. Rakia Jackson, Cameron Brink. Is Cameron Brink back and healthy for the start of the season? I would assume so, chat. So we'll get locked in on that. That'll be an interesting one to check out. And I guess we could just look at the scores here real quick. Okay, chat. One more Lunchable cracker. Hey, yo. Hey, yo. I will look at the scores again for the WNBA. Okay, chat. Here we go. I imagine opening night, we had a few games. Oh, only 3 games? Okay, chat. So Mystic and Dream are the only other game. And what's this logo, chat? The DC, of course, Washington, DC, Washington Mystics. It's not bad. I kind of like what they're going for with some retro styling. But I don't know, chat. Something about it is a little strange. But they do get the 4-point win over the Dream. So, as a team with a couple of rookies and a bunch of young kids. Oh, chat! Sonia Citron, the rookie with 19. And Brittany Sykes with 22. 15 of her 19 in the second half. Oh, excuse me, chat. Second half for the rookie. Alicia, is it Alicia Gray? Alyssa Gray? I don't remember, chat, but 25 and 7 for her as well too. So who knows? The Mystic, maybe a feisty turn it around team. Brianna Jones for the Dream with 16. Oh, Gray is on the Gray's on the Dream. She also had 25, and Griner with 18 and 8 tonight, 7 of 16 from the field, also on the Dream. But Ira Finn with 14. And 13 from Jade Melbourne with 11 off the bench in 22 minutes. So, hey, not bad, chat. I guess maybe 2 teams that might be in similar standings in the league spots. Oh, Dwight Howard is at the house? Hey, yo, chat. Dwight Howard, leave this man alone. He's just trying to recover from an injury. He didn't come here to talk about his leg. Whoa! What's the rumor? Chat, why would the Nets not want to re-sign Scott McKnight? Because of the injury? I mean, a PCL, chat, with a couple of months? I don't know if... And, chat, I mean, Scott McKnight, 2010, this would have been right at the turn. He's just a couple of years away from maybe changing his whole mindset. He himself wants to retire a Net, and now he is looking as oh, the team, are they going to screw me over? I want to be loyal to the team. I want to play with one team for my whole career. But if he just waits maybe a season or 2, LeBron in the Eastern Conference is going to go to Miami, and all of a sudden Scott McKnight's going to be wait, I just go to any team I want? So, I mean, as the movie plays out, maybe New York is just the best spot for him to be in. And, I mean, Scott McKnight is a menace in the Eastern Conference to mess with. Any team he's going to go to, when Scott McKnight is at the peak of his powers, they're going to be winning. But I guess he is... Oh, Scott McKnight listening to Mike and Mike on ESPN? I forgot Mike and Mike were in this movie, chat. A young Mike Greenberg. I mean, Mike Golick and Mike Greenberg. This might be the peak of the show, honestly, chat. Because unfortunately, turns out these guys don't actually like each other. It's weird to just be wait, these guys just did a radio show and just didn't like each other, I guess. But I guess they were... It's okay, that makes sense. They actually, I guess, weren't talking to each other the whole time. They're just talking to the microphone the whole time. So we don't have, I guess, a whole timeline on Scott McKnight's career at this point, but I guess there is questions about him being a franchise player there is those, maybe can he win the big game sort of question marks as well too. I don't know if he's had some sort of playoff, shortcomings up until this point. But I mean, Mike and Mike, he must really value the opinions of Mike and Mike, because I mean, it really sent him into a crater chat. He's not doing good. And I mean, you wake up and all of a sudden you find the engagement ring next to you, and you're like, oh yeah, maybe the Mike and Mike thing moves to number 2 on the worst thing that's happened list. Imagine you're gonna leave me the day after Mike and Mike questioned me as a franchise player. Like, we can't have this. This is too much all at once. So I guess another 2025 thing, like, I guess it could be I guess it couldn't be Mike and Mike, but it could be a Mike and Mike. Is there a Mike and Mike equivalent? But it's probably Stephen A, right? It's probably Stephen A on First Take being like, Scott McKnight, I don't know if Scott McKnight can lead a team to the title. Or, maybe it would have been Stephen A and Shannon Sharpe. I don't know if this, right now they're like, okay, we're casting Shannon Sharpe in the movie. But maybe Cowherd? Maybe we get a little, I guess, if it's staying in the Disney circle, then if it's ESPN, it has to be still an ESPN guy. And ESPN radio, not necessarily the same thing. The ESPN podding, I don't know, chat. Do they have a star that they could put into the movie in the same way? So it kind of would have to be Stephen A for or Perk. Maybe it's Perk. Maybe in 2025 you get Perk on SportsCenter just tearing into Scott McKnight. I don't think Scott McKnight can be a franchise player. He's a player, but not a franchise one, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if we can get Perk in this movie in 2025, but Mike and Mike, back in the day, it makes sense. They were at the peak of the powers. Was Dan Patrick still on ESPN radio at this time? Maybe, did Dan Patrick turn the role down? And Mike and Mike say yes. I guess maybe Cowherd could have been in this mix back in the day as well too, chat. But definitely Stephen A in 2025. So we got the Sparks up by 2. Second quarter, the Valkyrie, the expansion team, and I don't know how, the history of expansion teams that well for the NBA, and how some of those rosters look comparatively for the guys they got, those early seasons on. But maybe with the smaller rosters or the smaller league size in the WNBA, your expansion team is just going to be a little bit better, or maybe a little bit able to be more competitive in the standing of the league right away, because the talent pool is still, even more, is filtered out, like the right way to say it. But you guys, like, the talent pool is still more narrowed down in a way, and you're still going to be picking from more of the top talent because the league is just smaller. So I don't know if it's just with the way expansion works, you're like, okay, we just now could hold this team, we'll expand, and then it just kind of always feels the same regardless, or if, the early on type thing helps in that respect. But I guess it is the Paula Paulette leaving him that really, that's when he won't go to the door to get the breakfast from Queen Latifah. So that's when he really is down bad at this point. We've got Queen Latifah just combing through the MRIs and the PCL. I guess was PCL technology a little bit limited in 2010. Queen Latifah's got to project the big X-ray up on the wall and just try to really dissect the PCL. I mean, to be honest, these are X-rays of like but the bones. Like, I don't know, can we see the ligament tears in the X-rays, chat? Like, I'm not a doctor. I'm not claiming to be a doctor. I don't know, check the tapes, chat. If I have claimed to be a doctor, I take it back, because you're hearing it right now, I'm not. But I don't see any ligaments in those X-rays. If he tore a ligament, maybe that's what. But maybe she's attacking it from a different angle. She wants to make sure she's really, I guess, viewed the options for the recovery timeline. So I guess if he is working with the 3 to 4 PCL and you're trying to fix it on the timeline of a grade 2 PCL, maybe that's kind of what we're looking at. Maybe that explains a little bit more of the oh, you know, down in the dumps sort of mentality about it. But otherwise, I mean, 6 weeks, you know, you just got to kind of grind and then get back for the playoffs at this point. Because I guess there's no mention of how long it's been since he's actually gotten hurt at this point. But I think in the timeline of the retraining, we go maybe like 6 weeks. She gets him like, hey, can we get back in 6 weeks or whatever? So maybe we're looking at the 2-month sort of timeline. If, you know, if Paula Paulette really moves fast, chat, and she leaves him just like right away, maybe we're looking at like a 2-week full ordeal. So like an 8-week, add 2 weeks on an 8-week, 2-month sort of full ordeal. So again, if he gets hurt in the All-Star and returns in the playoffs around this time of year, maybe a little bit later, you are probably looking at 4 to 5 months in recovery, honestly. So maybe it is 3 to 4 months of recovery. Maybe, you know, maybe somehow, I don't know if Woj is in the picture at this time, but maybe something got out about him collapsing off of the therapy physical trainer's table at some point, and maybe they're like, oh, recovery is Scott McKnight, slow recovery. It's not going to be the same. Is he going to get back fully healthy on time and all this stuff? But back in the Rucker Park for Queen Latifah, providing a little bit inspiration to Scott McKnight to get his spirits lifted. And on a rainy day as well, too, it would explain why not a lot of people are there if it was rainy like this. It maybe, you know, a little bit earlier time of day. I don't know what the peak hours is for the Rucker chat. But, and is that where they're at? Am I an idiot? Where are they? I thought that's where they said they're at in this one. But let's see if we can get that poster scan back up. I think it is the Rucker. But even if Scott McKnight wasn't good in the NBA, they probably would have been excited to see him. Like, him just being an NBA player is cool, obviously. And Scott McKnight, I guess they do say multiple times, Scott McKnight, 2-time MVP. So he is running at the end of his career here a little bit. Giannis, sort of, what is he, 3-time MVP at this point, or just 2, chat? I forget. Jokic, 3, 4. Am I giving him 1 for this year? I don't even remember. But maybe they are writing him off a little bit too soon, chat. I don't know, maybe he was like a Steve Nash type character, had a back-to-back MVP run. Maybe Common is Steve Nash in this movie, chat. Maybe that's the player he's supposed to be. 08-09, though, wouldn't have been sort of the end of the Steve Nash run if we were just making the comparative to him himself. That would have been more, you know, the Lakers. Like we're saying, that was Lakers, Pau Gasol, Kobe winning titles those years. And then, like, 12, 13 would have been Nash in the Lakers at that time. But yeah, 2-time MVP just pulling up to the park. I mean, 2-time MVP in New York City at this point, chat. Maybe the problem is he's playing for the Nets. Because if he is a 2-time league MVP for the Knicks, even if he hasn't won a title, like, 2-time MVP is crazy. Again, Brunson is, you know, he's playing well in the regular season to help capture the hearts of the Knicks fans. But it's his continued success in the playoffs that gets you that extra level of just hero status for the city. So I don't know if they haven't had the playoff thing or if the Nets just really aren't that team at all in 08-09. But, you know, him and Leslie just walking around as a 2-time MVP in New York City. Like, you'd think there'd be a lot of more, hey, Scott! Yo, what's up, Scott? Can I get a picture, Scott? So maybe that's another 2025 thing as well, too. 08-09, the technology, the phone technology is still kind of rounding into shape. And it's not quite everybody is taking a picture of everything. Maybe he benefits from that a little bit. You would still have people up on the streets, maybe like sign this newspaper, sign this magazine, sign this DVD that I just rented, and I'm going to just take the case sleeve out and keep that and with your signature on it and just return the CD. Like, I don't know, chat, but I feel like he would get mobbed even after the injury for the legend that he is. Because, you know, you meet these guys in the streets, you're not like, oh, you're a bum now. You're like, hey, you're Scott McKnight. You were an awesome player. You were good to go. And the recovery's looking good so far, chat.
I mean, it's the combine, it's the open gym. You've got to be swishing those type of shots. But, you know, he's still looking good. And that outside jumper as well, too. A lot of mid-range from Scott McKnight. I do really like the Brunson comparison. I didn't think about Brunson before watching his game. And maybe Brunson a little bit better posting up, but operating out of the mid-range can take advantage of the positional mismatches. Can definitely be consistent three-point shooters when you need them, but maybe not be the first aspect of their game. Like, I do think, see, two-time league MVP is tough because 08-09, maybe that's just the talent raise of the league because Brunson is not the MVP of the league. Maybe the regular season, if he was playing the full season in the top of the Eastern Conference, obviously in the regular season with the Cavs and the Celtics winning 60 games, would have been tough to win some narratives over some of those guys. But Brunson could have probably been in the MVP conversation. But he does, and maybe this playoff run will help him solidify him, get there in the future if the regular seasons continue to be there. Obviously, and the health and stuff all in the same way. But it does seem like before this playoff run, he was just on the outside, kind of looking in on that MVP race. So for him to be a multiple-time MVP means he's like established himself in the race, and then obviously been good enough over time to be like, okay, he still deserves the repeat status for a guy Scott McKnight. But yeah, the 2 MVPs is crazy, and I don't know if he's like a heavy assist guy as well too, but I mean, we're basically rewriting LeBron's history at this point. Like Scott McKnight, and I don't know if he was winning the MVPs in like the year that this playoff run was supposed to be taking place. Again, he was already, had some contract extension talks going on in this movie, like already kind of had a career under his belt a little bit. So would have been Kobe, maybe like a Duncan or a Garnett MVP in here. So Kobe in 07-08, Dirk in 06-07. So maybe not quite. Well, I guess we're not looking for the film years. We're looking for maybe the MVP years. So Dirk could have been an interesting one. 50-40 guy that year. Steve Nash, 50-40 guy. Yeah, 05-06. 04-05 and 05-06. Maybe they don't advance very far in the playoffs, and then he gets injured, and it's like, okay, how do those MVPs look as good because of that? I don't know, chat. I think maybe he takes the Steve Nash MVPs. I don't know if he gets the Dirk one. Maybe Kobe, though. And Derrick Rose would have been after this, so I don't know if he gets Derrick Rose's MVP too, gets a third MVP in there. But Garnett, 24-14. Duncan, 22-12 and a half. 03-04. Duncan again, 02-03. We'll see here, chat. Iverson in 2000-2001. So was Scott McKnight winning MVPs in the 90s is the question. Did he get it over Shaq in 99-2000? We needed a draft year for Common. We need like a Scott McKnight rookie card with his draft year on the back of it, so we can know how it plays out for the timeline of the movie. And who did not get an MVP because Scott McKnight got 2 MVPs? LeBron is not in the GOAT conversation in this movie because Scott McKnight got 2 of his MVPs, chat. Scott McKnight versus MJ. Stephen A is like, I'll always take MJ, but if Scott McKnight wins another title, I gotta think about it. So maybe after this movie, we get the I gotta think about it post-credits theme from Stephen A. And Stephen A confronts Brick. I don't know if that, I don't know if we get that crossover. But, chat. Common taking care of Queen Latifah. So sweet. But the Sparks do look feisty as well too, chat. So I don't know, again, enough about the NBA to make full WNBA to make full predictions on each of these teams and their competitiveness level going into the season. But maybe that does speak to there could be a little bit of randomness and a little bit of there is some room for some results to shake out in various ways that maybe, you know, the typical hierarchy, preseason stuff, hype stuff that we get from the NBA and from some of these other sports, maybe it just doesn't not necessarily not matter in the same way, but maybe it's a little bit more unpredictable in the same way, and just there's more chaos potentially in the regular season at stake. But I mean, you know, you just run around taking care of Common while he's recovering from a PCL, chat. You're probably going to crash at some point. You're probably going to get sick. Oh, you're going to fall asleep on the couch next to Common, chat. You're just going to have cute moments as a personal trainer when you're training a guy like Scott McKnight, who is in the NBA. It's just what it is. Wait, were they watching Food Network before? Am I an idiot? Scott McKnight, big Food Network guy, chat? I mean, he really is for the ladies. I mean, Food Network is probably one of the better channels to wake up to, I would say. And who knows, if we start watching, you know, if we have more of these WNBA games on in the background as well, too, as the season continues on, maybe like NCIS will be the next show that we start waking up to just randomly. Because what do we get, like Supernatural and Charmed if we're watching the NBA? But maybe for the NCIS Ion run for the WNBA, maybe that's the show show that it will happen for. But who is the GM in this movie? Because I think is this the Bulls GM from back in the day? Is he an uncredited part? Let me see if I have the right name, Chad. Is it Rob Thorne? Am I crazy? Maybe it's Rob Thorne with an E. Or just Rob Thorne NBA. Or maybe this guy. Yeah, Rod Thorne, chat. Rod Thorne, basketball. Olympic Committee chairman as well, too. So he's the Olympic Committee chairman, just also acting as the Brooklyn Nets GM, I guess, in this movie, making a call on whether or not Scott McKnight can play basketball or not. But Rod Thorne, and a player from 64 to 71, an executive from 76, a coach from 76 to 82, and an executive from 78 to 2012. So he would have been on the Nets at this time, Chad. Wow, he actually was like, yeah, I'll cameo. That's fine. Had the Bulls run in the 80s, and then nothing from 80. Draft MJ, leave, and then go take over the New Jersey Nets in 2001. So did maybe assemble that Eastern Conference Finals team a little bit, got there in that first year, but also ran off the fumes of that for a couple of seasons as well too, chat. Then ended up in Philly after that. But getting a sideline performance from Rod Thorne, incredible stuff. Common on the piano. I mean, you know, you can't have Common in a movie and not have just some sort of instrument, something, chat pause, being played in this movie. Outside of Queen Latifah and the sister, it's also got to be the piano, chat. He's got to showcase his musical talents. You don't think of Common as like a sit down at the piano and write some music type guy, so maybe he is just like I'll learn piano real quick for this type, you know, committed character actor, chat, committed to the bit. But also, just again, his musical background, if he was like, I've never played piano before, and just beautiful song, would not be shocked whatsoever. And again, speaking of charming, chat, you get Queen Latifah and Common making some eye contact, and you're like, oh, the movie works. Oh, hey, yo, pause. Is this a pause? We just snapped the cracker? Do you guys know what we're talking about? This Ritz cracker from this Lunchable is what we mean. I guess we'll just have to eat it. We can't risk that happening again, chat. It's too risky. But that's good. First Lunchable down. That means this Oreo Lunchable is getting close to... Chat, no way. No way. You're not going to believe it. There's 2 Oreos in this Lunchable, chat. That just really made it exciting. Also, we could have had one in the first half and then one in the second half. Oh, well, Tat. 2 fourth quarter Oreos? Does that make sense? What are we talking about? Lunchables? Okay. That's right. Oh, speaking of Oreos and stuff, we got Common digging into the snacks over here. I guess he is not playing, chat. So, is this a little bit of the DK Metcalf diet? Common, just all candy and snacks and run it off. But Leslie Wright knows, chat. Just one. You can't be going crazy with the sweets. I mean, even Common knows. Common's just trying to be cute, playful with the personal trainer, chat. Stick to business, Common. What are we doing? What are we doing? His girlfriend leaves him. He's cooped up in the house. Next thing you know, he's like, who's around, chat? The personal trainer? Common. Maybe this movie's a little bit sketchier than we thought. But I think, fortunately for him, Queen Latifah has a very nice smile. I think she feels, at the moment, like, I think she feels very okay with being hit on by the client. So, when the client's Scott McKnight, I think it works. And I guess the idea of Scott McKnight returning for Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals after missing a full stretch. Like, say Tatum didn't have the Achilles injury in the playoffs. Say he had the PCL injury at the All-Star break, and he would... If the Celtics made Game 7 of this series against the Knicks without Tatum, would they play Tatum? Because you have to think as well, too, they got to that point. It's not like they lost Scott McKnight in the playoffs and then played the whole playoff run without him after that. They lost Scott McKnight at the All-Star break. So we'd be having whole conversations of like, this Nets team is in the Eastern Conference Finals without Scott McKnight. Like maybe Scott McKnight's off the bench in this in this game actually. And Miami, I mean Dwayne Wade and 4 actors. Maybe Scott McKnight actually has a real chance. That's not Mike Miller, but they got a Mike Miller lookalike on this team. We got a Mike Miller lookalike, a Joel Anthony lookalike. Obviously Dwayne Wade. I don't know who else is supposed to be on this Knicks team or this Heat team from back. Is Lamar Odom like on the 08 Heat or something random like that? He might be more toward the finals team type play. But it's a rough start of the game, obviously, for our guy Scott in his head. They don't really say how long this brutal stretch goes. And for some reason, I don't know if this is allowed, but they have the shot clock and the game clock turned off on the side score on the basket. So just the top shot clock is the only one we can see. And so the guy from the corner can't see if the shot clock's running down, chat? It doesn't seem fair. Dwayne Wade just absolutely cooking Scott McKnight. This is why you can't have him out there. This is why second half of the season. And playoff basketball. He hasn't had time to adjust to any basketball, much less playoff basketball. Now you've got Dwayne Wade at the peak of his powers, just absolutely cooking him, blowing by him, just taking him to the basket whenever he wants. Scott McKnight literally pulling his seat away from the edge of the bench. I didn't even know that was allowed. Usually there's fan seating there, these greedy owners, but apparently this Nets bench has like an actual ending. Scott McKnight doesn't have to just sit next to some random courtside ticket holder while the person just watches the game. But would Queen Latifah also be able to get... Oh! The number 16 has no name, and she still has her number 16. So Scott McKnight's not like, hey, maybe you wear a McKnight jersey to the game. Any thought of wearing your client's jersey to the game? Maybe there is other stuff also in play. Again, you know, I think the jersey's on much later. But just in theory, even if it was just a completely professional working relationship, you would still think, unless there's like just an absolute like idol or childhood something or whatever. You know, you got some legend jersey, or this person's been around in the league for a while, and you know, like I guess a LeBron type, or it's like a Chris Paul type or something. You know, if he goes to your team, you're like, oh well, you know, we respect Chris Paul. But otherwise, if it's your client, there is a good chance you should probably have the 19 on, chat. Here we go. Fourth quarter, game tied. Scott McKnight just absolutely turning it around after the... Oh, there's Bembry, chat. There he is. Number 16. So number 16 is Bembry. Shout out Makad Brooks. Maybe that's why he's okay with it. He's like, yeah, we're cool. The best friend. The worst player. He's like, I'm Scott McKnight. She can have the jersey, but... Does she want me to put up 30, 20, and 15? Because Makad Brooks... I mean, you would think. But apparently not. Common. So the longest 14 seconds of any basketball game ever. Just Scott McKnight easily just pick and roll, spin off top of the key. Where's the big, chat? Scott McKnight dribbled it all the way around, and the big's not going to step up and pressure? He's going to let Scott McKnight he's going to go under the screen? What just happened? How did he get that shot off? A Game 7 buzzer beater. Marv Albert and Kenny Smith, I got to say, they are pretty calm and collected for the moment. I think this is basically the craziest moment. I mean, Kawhi, I think, was the first time that it ever happened. So, I mean, this Scott McKnight would have been the first time before even Kawhi. This would have been a historic moment. I mean, you see the pandemonium afterwards. Rest in peace to the legend. Shout out Stuart Scott in this movie. Absolutely, chat. I mean, Common booking an appearance on Stuart Scott. I think that's just a real interaction. I think they just filmed Common going to a press conference, and Stuart Scott just literally just asked him, you want to come on SportsCenter? Pause. But, yeah, you've got a buzzer beater, Game 7, finals, playoff winning shot in that game. A historic moment for Scott McKnight. It would have been insane. Number 1 on SportsCenter, play of the year, maybe. Like, again, that Kawhi buzzer beater versus the Sixers just about checks all of those things as well too, including even Scott McKnight. Chat, he's too good. He just goes up and just swishes the jump shot. Kawhi, it's got to bounce around 3 or 4 times and be dramatic. Unfortunately, did Common do his own stunts? Did Common make his own buzzer beaters in this movie, or did they have to send in a buzzer beater 3-point shooting double in this game for Common? And can we get a height for Common? Because, you put him next to some of the NBA guys. Obviously, not totally fair. But, speaking of Jameer Nelson. Okay, 6 foot, chat. So and I know the Nets and they were playing against the Magic, not necessarily with the Magic. But maybe in this alternate universe, they could get Dwight Howard to go to New York as well. Play with Common on the Nets team. Is Richard Jefferson still there? Yeah, Jameer Nelson, also 6 foot. So I feel like Common is a little maybe Jameer Nelson-y in his game as well. Maybe. But Nelson's a guy who could have maybe a lower... I don't know if Nelson was like an automatic 3-point shooter. But you just feel a little bit more trustworthy in a big moment. But Brunson, regardless of what he's looking like, you just trust him in any big moment to step up and be clutch, I guess. So, shout out to Scott McKnight for historic stuff, I guess, in the NBA playoffs. Eastern Conference actual finals. It wasn't to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. It was the actual Eastern Conference Finals itself. So, Scott McKnight in the finals now, chat. Did they offer him the... I don't know, chat. I don't know if I missed a scene or not in here. Maybe it's on the way next. But the finals is next, chat. The party is definitely like a bit of a... Okay, he did get the contract extension because he's about to unveil her brand new car. The Mustang fixed up. Hey, yo, chat. Speaking of John Wick, the Mustang in common. I mean, there's more in common with Just Right in John Wick Chapter 2.
than you thought. That specifically a Mustang getting just absolutely abused and banged up. I guess you don't see the Mustang like get the dent in this one, but the Mustang has the dent in the movie. It has the old dent on the side. It has the dent still in the car when he replaces it, which is a pretty thoughtful move. I think I might have just tapped out and said, well, I guess we can't just do anything to the car then. If you want to keep your bad car, then keep your bad car, chat. But I wouldn't have been like, oh yeah, let's think around this. Let's just put a dent the same way in the door. Or just keep the door and make everything else fit around it and make it work. But it is, of course, a stunning makeover, chat. We're talking about the car. Of course, Common and Queen Latifah don't need makeovers. They're already stunning. But the Mustang needed a little touch up. It is what it is. A sunroof? I don't know if I was 10 out of 10 sold on the sunroof, but maybe it's not bad. It's not a bad feature to have, I'm sure, when you're using it. You're like, yeah, this is nice. But I don't know how I feel about them in the aesthetics of a car. I don't know if I feel more differently about them in a van or if it's just them in vehicles in general. But I guess it doesn't matter because Queen Latifah's not using the car, chat. If Common gives you a car, you gotta wait till tomorrow to use the car, I think is the general rule of thumb. Or not rule of thumb, I guess just what happened. In this movie, ayo, chat, be careful with what we're saying. But it just turns out that is how it plays out. So a little breakfast in bed situation, I guess, chat. Scott McKnight, a gentleman throughout. As I say, he leans a little bit more gentleman in this one. He has his moments of back and forthness, but he's trying, chat. He's trying. Just Queen Latifah just into the pillows, chat. It is what it is. Scott McKnight, he just signed the massive deal, so I don't know, Paula Patton is... Leslie Wright's out here criticizing Paula Patton for dancing around, but, I mean, make no mistake, it's not like Leslie Wright's bummed out about the fact that she just hooked up with Scott McKnight. It is probably exactly what Paula Patton sensed in the air. She's like, I gotta get down there fast. Did they... I guess they didn't actually get married because she didn't have to serve him with, like, divorce papers or anything like that. She could just... she just took off, chat. She just made it out. But she's back, reconciling. Scott McKnight's hitting game-winning shots, and she's back, chat. I mean, it's just a sign. It's just an obvious sign. Common's no fool, chat. Scott McKnight is no fool. I think he sees right through all the plans. He's just... The problem is, he's just a man. And he may act like one. But for the most part, it seems like you would think he knew what... I mean, you think the minute you're like, wait a second. I just was hurt. And you left. And I hit a couple of threes in a game 7. And now all of a sudden you're back. So, I mean, she's committed to the bit, chat. Like, she's literally watching all the games. She's tuned into, like, a game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, like, scouting talent, I guess. So you gotta give her credit. How invested is she in her play? Like, has she ever flipped on some G League highlights, I guess? Like, okay, just in case. Let's see what's going on here. Summer League? Like, is she watching Summer League? I guess, 2025 as well, too. Is this a Jalen Green sort of situation here? Or is this, still sort of same age peers of people going at it? But in 2025, the trends does not seem to be that, chat, for some of these guys. So, again, Scott McKnight, older player, maybe a little bit more traditional with his values. He wants somebody his own age, I guess. But in the 2025 remake version, Just Right 2, maybe? Just 2 Right? Also Just Right? 2 Right? I don't know what the Right to left? Just right to left?
I don't know what the actual title of the second Just Right would be, chat, but in the second one, maybe it's a couple of different, maybe it's like one of those where it's like a sequel, but it's a different cast. In the second one, just a whole new story, and it's some just third, fourth year rookie of the year type prospect who actually won the award, and now all of a sudden there's a, I mean, chat, maybe we're just putting together a movie now for the NBA. I know, you know, Just Right's about as wholesome as you can get, but this is not maybe that, but it does have something. There is something there, chat. The 20-year age gap, a lot of just scenes in a nightclub, a lot of blue and purple lights, and some, I don't know if we go like full electronic music like John Wick, or if we go some, like if it's like a hip hop club with some actual hip hop soundtrack stuff going on. But I think there's some pieces here to this movie. Maybe is it like a Basic Instinct crossed with what's like a just a, you know, Basic Instinct, and I guess we can't say Basic Instinct at Hoosiers check. That's a high school movie, but whatever basketball movie you could think. Basic Instinct and Space Jam, you know, mixed together. That's Just Right too, maybe. Hey yo, LeBron James just sits on the bench and just crosses his legs at one point, and everybody goes crazy. That's apparently just right too, apparently. But sad times. Paula Paulette back in the picture. Common. He thought it was his one true love, chat. Paula Paulette. I think we all thought that at one point. Paula Paulette was our one true love. And I forget where she is at, like what her role is at in that Burj Khalifa scene in Mission Impossible. Because, again, I think she's in the room, and I think she's one of the people that is responsible for catching Tom Cruise as he falls. Ayo, chat. Spoiler alert, I guess, for Mission Impossible, whichever one that's in. Is it Ghost Protocol? I think it might be Ghost Protocol. But when he slips right as he's about to re-enter the building, you know, there's that whole chain of people that catch him and help bring him back in. And I think she's in there. I forget if she's like grabbing the carpet and then somebody else is grabbing Cruise. I think she is, chat. I think she's grabbing like a pant leg. She's grabbing like Renner's pant leg or something like that, and the carpet, doing like a Captain America sort of curl everything together and bring them both in. I think it works somehow, chat. But yeah, of course, incredible stuff. And I don't know if this is up here for her best movies as well too. You know, Mission Impossible franchise is gonna be way up there as well. But the Sparks maintain the lead, chat. 2-point game. Vegas hanging in there, keeping it competitive. Trying out. I know there was that one prop we saw a while back that was Sparks' first win, and these first couple of games are favorable, but after that it gets a little bit tougher. So maybe they split, and this is the loss, and they kind of adjust a little bit of a different opponent in the next game, and they're able to win that one. But yeah, the Valkyrie, of course, just crushed all the branding and all the logos, colors, all this stuff. We haven't necessarily gotten a real close-up on the jerseys, but I imagine they're cool as well too. It does feel a little Sacramento Kingsy, which is not totally bad at all, but I think they do set themselves apart as well too, with a little bit of just a different touch to some of their colors. But yeah, shout out LA for. And is Rickea Jackson in the game right now? Yeah, there we go, chat. Okay, now we're locked in. There it is. Kelsey Plum to Rickea Jackson. Oh, chat. This team's going to move up the watch list real quick. Kelsey Plum, trade her back to the Aces? I guess maybe we should give our, player a chance. Because you think that kind of offense and that kind of defense, who knows, chat. But, I mean, just back at the restaurant with Common and Paula Paulette, just hanging out. About to order some champagne or wine or whatever. And, again, she's been red flag central basically the entire time she's been with him, but this is the one time where Common's like, okay, we got it. The red flags have not only have they been just blaring off lately, they're like just constant, just one. It's just a one long pitch at this point. The minute you bring up the wedding on the second time hanging out from the when you just randomly leave the note and just walk away after the PCL injury, you know, that is a whoa. Wait a second, that's a little bit of a red flag. Maybe you want to, if you weren't planning on taking it slow, you're like, well, now I have to take it slow. You know, we can't play it out exactly like that. So, you know, change your plans, I guess. But she's going to try to hit him with the you got to commit to a second chance, but he is committing, chat. Following his heart. I guess Common is the good guy in this movie, so we don't necessarily need to defend Common for his actions. And for him falling for the charms of Leslie Wright and Queen Latifah is not, you know, a blame we can put on him as well. But again, if you're going to maybe have this situation, the high profileness of it as well, are they just immediately back out in the restaurants, just, okay, publicly we want to be seen together right away? And again, their public is different. Like, she was photographed, chat. She was famous. She was in the magazines. So that's what I'm saying. In 2025, the 2025 version of the movie, I don't think she just drops out of the public eye just because she is no longer in a relationship with an NBA player. Like, maybe the NBA people like myself are a different thing, but I think she's, even if she didn't go in that way, she can set herself up with some of the online stuff. Maybe she's got a pod, chat, doing some audiobooks as well too. Maybe she gets into the Peloton instructing in that way, or she tries the reality acting, real acting. Who actually, the actor gets into acting in a movie. I mean, I don't think it's a totally unique thing that's never happened before, chat. But this scene right here is one of the best scenes, just in terms of the realisticness of the basketball stuff that might actually happen. Is I remember like watching this movie and thinking when Queen Latifah starts to decide that she wants to take and be a full-time trainer in the NBA, I remember thinking, well, if she can get this guy, and again, maybe I didn't do my research on the PCL injury, but it's like, if she can get this guy back in a time crunch like this, I don't even think she would have to put out her resume. Like, the teams would be calling her, and then the next scene, chat, what do you know? The Nets are hitting her up. So we got the Nets, the Suns, and there was one more team as well too. Philly. The Sixers, the Suns, the Nets. Actually, I think they say there was up to 5 offers, but I think those are the 3 teams that they mentioned for sure on here. But I think, honestly, all 30 teams might reach out and be like, hey, you know? And as a personal training is one of those things. You know, an MCL is an MCL. It's not like you need to know basketball or football necessarily. Maybe you do end up having a specialization in the recovery aspects of a certain thing, or the diagnostic, or who knows, chat. But you know, she might even have some NFL teams hitting her up. You know, New Jersey. She might have the Jets calling, the Giants. Both of those teams in New York, they're definitely calling. The Eagles and Philly, they're definitely calling as well too. Maybe maybe I don't think Jerry Jones is calling, chat, but maybe, I mean, just a bunch of teams, chat, if she's working and able to get this kind of a disciplined recovery regimen going for a star player. She's going to have multiple NBA teams, multiple sports teams, multiple different options just to be in charge of the medical aspects of something, chat, is, I think, totally appropriate. But, and, you know, the idea of her moving away, heavily debated. Do you go away to Philly? Do you go away to Phoenix? But it's not like she's running away to Phoenix. You know, she's just running away to Philly. She'll be a couple hours away. New city. Fake move away, chat. That's the move. The move is to just move away just far enough where you're like, oh, well, I can drive back. It is what it is. So that's the plan. She's like, I go to Philly. I just drive back if I need to. The problem is, you got this whole house. And just a lot of people buying houses in the New York area, chat. We need a suburb. What suburb is this movie just right taking place in? We need a location. Because Even a fixer-upper. You know, again, buying some property. Good work, chat. So maybe I don't. And 08, 09 as well too, chat. We're talking post-housing crisis as well. You know, we might be in the middle of it / just kind of entering out of it as this movie is taking place. And did Fallon actually have a... Or did Stuart Scott have a set like a Fallon where it's like a talk show set like this? Because I don't necessarily remember this setup for something. But the old talk show's another thing. Anytime a talk show's in a movie, it seems like it works. Marvel's going for it with the Fantastic Four. It's in the trailers, obviously, so maybe it's just a way to kickstart everything and not actually going to be a major part of the film at all. And then not a major part of the film. But maybe it's not, maybe it's just like one quick scene. Who knows? But I don't think anybody, like, what are the craziest storm-offs in interview history? Especially in sports interview history. Like, imagine if there's not even a, well, I guess it could be like a previous player. Like, imagine if Devin Booker in the middle of his final runs just left and was like, left an interview with, you know, the most prominent person in ESPN and was like, oh, you know, a Stephen A. Like, imagine if Devin Booker just left like a Stephen A interview in the middle of their finals run and was like, I gotta go talk to Kendall Jenner. I need to talk to her. I need to discuss my feelings toward her. I want her back. Maybe Stephen A would just be like, that's blasphemous. You can't have her back. She don't deserve you. Or maybe he is like, you go get her. You follow your heart. Maybe he does what Paula Paulette does. Chase her down. Paula Paulette just trying to be like, I'm understanding and I'm supportive. I mean, you can't tell if she's a good person or a bad person in this chat. At the end, she's like, you know, Common, go chase your heart. I get it. But it's like, okay, you really don't have any feelings for this guy whatsoever. You just let him go constantly. In and out, chat. It is what it is. Paula Paulette chasing the bag. Hustling in this movie. I don't know, chat, if, you know, Gabrielle Union is in the picture for Dwayne Wade at this point. We didn't see any Paula Paulette Dwayne Wade interactions after the playoff games. Elton Brand? We get just an Elton Brand appearance, chat. You know, Elton Brand and Queen Latifah. I think Elton Brand could have spit a little bit more game. Maybe a handshake and walk away. Maybe he, you know, I don't know if there's like a conversation on a place to grab a cup of coffee right after that or what happens, chat. But, you know, Elton Brand, maybe he's not able to navigate the coffee shops as an NBA player the same way. You know, maybe an NBA trainer would. But I feel like you could have had a few more words than just, hey, handshake. I'll see you later. Oh, Scott McKnight, chat. Channeling his Matthew McConaughey in a Lincoln commercial, leaning on the front of the car. What do we got? A little open collar situation, the vest. I mean, Common, always charming. I think he goes straight from this into fighting John Wick. This is the same suit, chat. It's pretty much the same look. Queen Latifah, always strong and sticking to her guns in these movies. That's why that scene where she's like dancing around is so funny, because it's like, I mean, it's good to see all the sides of Queen Latifah, I guess. Hey, yo, chat. Hey, yo. What are we saying there? But she's just so in control and always able to, you know, kind of stay ahead of the relationship in a lot of her roles, or just, you know, ahead of the game in a lot of the stuff. So sort of the backtrack celebration-y type stuff. But the Sparks now 61-47. A little surge here to midway through the third quarter. 3 minutes left as the third quarter winds down. Maybe the Sparks get game one against the Valkyrie. And with the way the Mystic look tonight, chat, 94 points against the Dream again. Maybe the Valkyrie are in real trouble here. But maybe do the Mystics play 2 good games in a row? Is the question. So Leslie Wright, she takes the Nets job. Maybe, you know, Leslie Wright gets there 08, 09. Darren Williams is there in a couple of seasons. Maybe it makes
the Darren Williams, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce trades a lot more realistic and a lot more successful for the team. If they have Leslie Wright in the roster, she's able to get a couple of more years of these guys' prime out of their career. Like, she really would have helped. They do the Brooklyn rebrand. I think Leslie Wright, I think she's a fan. I think she likes the New Jerseys. I think she gets into some of the new city-inspired stuff that they're doing. So, okay, we get a cutaway to next season. They're once again playing Orlando. You know, at home, as you'd expect. Paula Paulette and Queen Latifah still hanging out, which means Common just has to see his ex-fiancée every time he hangs out with Queen Latifah, essentially. Is, you know, a bit of an interesting dynamic to have to navigate, I'm sure. But, hey, again, you know, we've all, you know, shaken hands throughout the course of our lives. Like, you just kind of keep it moving. If you just look past, I guess. But, you know, he's able to maintain a good, healthy family here all the way around. Queen Latifah back to the sidelines as the Nets head trainer, of course. Is Bembry still on the team? They didn't trade Bembry in the offseason, did they? I think that was him in the corner there, chat. I think he's still there. We get a number 50 cutting to the basket. Oh, Dwight Howard with the swat. Out of bounds. Rashard Lewis. So, unfortunately, the Nets were not able to win this game. But Common, you know, he's got Queen Latifah. He's happy. He's winning at the end of the day, chat. So, it doesn't look like Bembry's on the team anymore. I don't see a number 16. So, Bembry gets traded in the offseason. I think they probably, you know, Scott McKnight, they're able to get past Wade in Game 7. That Miami team, of course, definitely gears up after they get LeBron and some of these other guys in the future. But they may lose the finals to Kobe that year, Chad. Again, you get the Lakers in a couple of back-to-back finals there, and Kobe and Pau Gasol. Do the Nets have the guy to go up against Pau Gasol? Is essentially the question in these series. Can Scott McKnight outduel Gasol and Kobe by himself? Because you think Gasol at least having to work against Howard in that first series, and then Turkoglu as well too, and then especially in the next series though, him and Garnett in the front court guys for the Celtics, you know, them battling it out in that next series is classic stuff. But maybe they lose the finals the next or in that next series, and then they have to trade Bembry in the offseason. You know, Scott McKnight did just sign a max contract as an older player, so maybe they're doing a little like Celtics. Oh, now all of a sudden we got to cut the tax books. The tax bill for this Nets team is getting too expensive because of Scott McKnight's deal. But regardless, it's not to say that they're not back in the finals as well, too. They were, I'm sure the Magic were, again, the playoff mix with Dwight Howard in all these years. So them being competitive against the Nets in a regular season game, them getting a 4-point win versus Scott McKnight's Nets in a regular season game is not totally surprising. But, you know, maybe if you're giving him the max contract after the injury, maybe you're hoping for just a smidge bit more success if they're not able to happen. But classic stuff, Chad. So Boston, we gave you a couple ideas for tonight. If I guess it may be too late to save this season, but you can potentially save next season. And again, Leslie Wright, I mean, there's no better time than now. Is that even a saying, chat? There's no better time than never. Now is never a better time than ever. I don't know what the saying is, but just get Queen Latifah in the training room and have her start working with Jayson Tatum. Hey, right now, get that recovery timeline started. Trade Drew Holiday for Vít Krejci from the Hawks, and maybe bring in Scott McKnight in some sort of front office role as well too, and hire Jeff Van Gundy as the head coach. So we said don't touch anything if you're Boston, pause, but actually just go ahead and change the whole team, I guess, is the moral of the story. Or just hope Queen Latifah saves the day. But yeah, chat, 15 years, shout out, Common and Queen Latifah. It's an all-timer. Is it the best PG movie of the century? Chat, what are non-animated live actions? What are some other live action PG movies since 2000 that are like actually watchable, chat? That like might actually, because you know, you think about maybe like Pixar I don't know, so maybe even some of those get like technically like, I don't know, PG-13 or whatever. I don't know, it's like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, PG-13. Oh, Princess Bride is PG. Shout out Indiana. So older movies like Indiana Jones and Star Wars. I guess Princess Bride is technically an older movie. Night of the Museum is classic. The Incredibles is animated. Rocky is PG? If Rocky is PG, then it might be Rocky, Chad. I mean, Rocky's like a real movie. Shout out to Just Right, but I think Rocky was in some Oscar combinations. Yeah, again, PG, 1976. Who knows? But December 3rd, Chad, 1976. I'm trying to look up the Oscar history for yeah, won 3 Oscars. It did win Best Picture, so I mean, I don't know how it's 6. As much as I love The Princess Bride, and The Princess Bride is definitely a better PG movie. Like, I mean, you could definitely show Rocky to a kid. Like, it's fun, Rocky, yeah, yo, is and yo, Adrian, like, Sylvester Stallone is a funny guy to have. As Simmons always says, the unintentional comedy with a lot of the actors, like, if there's enough of that in the movies as well, too, I think maybe sometimes you can gravitate toward that as a kid as well. Oh, Chad, don't get the co-pilot just frozen on the screen here. If we refresh, will it go away? Yeah, there we go. But Rocky at 6. Yeah, but The Princess Bride is definitely like a better, for like what feels like a PG movie, that feels more like it than Rocky anyways. But I guess like National Treasure, again, Night of the Museum, like these actually feel like kids movies in a way. Harry Potter, I guess it just depends on, what's the Pope saying about Harry Potter, Chad? We need to get Pope Leo's stance on Harry Potter. How to Train Your Dragons animated. Top Gun as well, too. It feels a little adultish, a little bit. Karate Kid. Karate Kid is another great PG movie as well, too, for sure. But a lot of these as well, too, are just old, Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters got a scene in there, but I mean, that's like a, OG, you're watching that movie probably, 5 years earlier than you, is there a earliness that you should be watching this movie? But again, it's probably about as great as you're going to get. But that's like you're watching that movie about as soon as you can. Willow, what about like Willy Wonka? Oh, speaking for Hunt for the Red October. Here we go, chat. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. James Bond. Star Trek, Superman, The Three Musketeers. Oh, Hook! Oh, Hook, chat. How could we not mention Hook? Hook might be on the Mount Rushmore of PG movies. Chat, is the Mount Rushmore Princess Bride, Hook, and Just Right? Is that 3 of the 4 Faces? The Sting, Jaws, Romancing the Stone, Smokey and the Bandit, Galaxy Quest, The Rocketeer. Okay, chat, did we hit the tier limit in that? What else? Oh, Night of the Museum. It might honestly, I don't know, chat. National Treasure at the Night of the Museum. DM us at REMINGTOM on Instagram and let us know what you think. That's a debate. We might have to put up a poll. Best PG movie. But again, like Princess Bride and some of these were definitely pre-2000. So if we were going since 2000, we're basically talking Just Right, National Treasure, or Night of the Museum for live-action PG movies. And pre-2000, you're talking Princess Bride and Karate Kid. I think that's a better 1-2 combination than if you're like, okay, what are the first movies that you have to see? Like Karate Kid and Princess Bride versus like pre-2000s versus, what do we say, post-2000s? National Treasure and Night of the Museum. I mean, they're pretty funny, but there's a status with those movies, Karate Kid and Princess Bride, that feel like they just feel a little bit more important. Ghostbusters as well, too, like we were saying. So, otherwise, you're going to have to go 2 Night of the Museums for post-2000 PG-13 movies, or PG movies anyways. Hook, maybe we go 90s, pre-90s, post-90s, because Romancing the Stone, I think, is 80s or 7. I think it's 80s as well. Is Ferris Bueller technically PG? Ferris Bueller might 2000 Mount Rushmore. Oh, it's, I guess, PG-13. What's the 13 part of Ferris Bueller? I don't know. I mean, that's another one where I guess you're going to probably screw the ratings for most of the movies, chat, but that's another. Maybe we just have to bend the rules and just say we're just talking just early showcase movies anyways. But, I mean, chat, if we're talking, and I don't know if it's just the way the movie industry has changed or whatever, where just some of the, some of the graphic stuff in older movies is just not the same. So I don't know if some of this is like a retroactive grading of it as PG as well too. It's like, well, it's PG now. Do we constantly go back and reevaluate movies based on the rating systems that we have now, or is it released PG back in the day? Like, I'm not totally certain about that. But if we were just, doing the filter chat, like, best players, best NBA player, it's like trying to find a way to get Josh Giddey's stats to look good. Hey, yo, chat. But it's like the 18, 8, 6, and 4 guys or whatever. It's like, what are the best PG movies since 2000? Just Right's number 1, chat. I think it's number 1. I think it claims the spot. Indiana Jones. See, Indiana Jones and Star Wars. That's a different conversation as well, too, because those are franchises. I guess Rocky's technically a franchise. National Treasure also technically a franchise. But I think the first one lives on in a way that the other ones don't. Jaws, I guess, most things have sequels or something. The Karate Kid franchise. But, I mean, you're just like, you got to watch The Karate Kid. Maybe a little Cobra Kai if you get super into it. But I really have only seen the OG Karate Kid. So, Ghostbusters, Karate Kid, The Princess Bride, and what was the other one, chat? Star Wars, Indiana Jones. No, I think those are the 3 leaders right now. Because Rocky's also a pretty extensive, like, that's definitely a franchise as well, too. Ghostbusters, Karate Kid, The Princess Bride. Willow is honestly in the mix as well, too. Willow is definitely in the mix. I think that's Hook, chat. Yeah, that's it. That's the Mount Rushmore of early movies you have to watch. Hook, The Princess Bride. I can't even get the list straight. Hook, Princess Bride, Malcolm X. What did we say the other ones were, chat? We gotta write these down. Not Willow. Ghostbusters, Karate Kid. What else do we? Not National Treasure. Not even Princess Bride, Karate Kid, Ghostbusters, and the last one was Jesus, chat. We should just be able to remember these 4, but we're scrolling around looking at all the titles. It's getting distracted. Hook, The Karate Kid, The Princess Bride. How can I only remember 3 out of 4? It's like a puzzle. It's like a mystery game. We just keep playing until we get 4 out of 4 correct. Karate Kid, Princess Bride, Ghostbusters, and Jesus, chat. There it is. Another 3 out of 4. Okay, we'll get it again. Princess Bride, Karate Kid, Ghostbusters, and Hook. Bam. There we go, chat. You got it. We got it. We can finally take off on that note. Pause. But, yeah, shout out to Common. Shout out to Queen Latifah. Shout out to the New York Knicks for making their first conference championship game in 24 years. So, well, Knicks Pacers feels like the 90s all over again, chat. But we will be back. Sunday, we got Game 7. Nuggets versus Thunder. No Aaron Gordon, but, maybe Jokic. 1 Jokic versus 17 Thunders players. It's been a good series so far. So Game 7, I'm sure, hopefully will deliver. More so than it did last year, chat, for the Nuggets in the Game 7 that they lost. But can Jokic make it back to the conference finals? Will Shea break through? What will happen, chat? Subscribe to the REMINGTOM feed. We'll be here live on the YouTube the whole game. It'll be great. It'll be fun to watch. I don't know if there's a movie to watch along with it. It may just be a Game 7 focus type day. A high-level game like that may just have to clear out. May just have to call an ISO for Shea. May have to call an ISO for Jokic. And just focus on the basketball at hand. But you can follow us here on the YouTube. You can follow the live feeds, of course, on the podcast pages. And the live streams go up on there a little bit afterwards as well, too. So you can catch them over there. And you can message us at REMINGTOM on Instagram. The DMs are open over there if you want to say hi. If you want to tell us what your best early movie rankings was, if you could keep all those movies that we were trying to name straight. If you want to give us your thoughts on Just Right. If you want to recommend us any, I guess, good luck recommending us the Queen Latifah vehicle that we haven't seen yet, chat. But anything you want to message us about over on Remington. If you want to message us about how much you like that new Snoop Dogg album, then message us over there as well, too. Let us know what your favorite song was. But we'll be back, like I said, Sunday, having a good time, watching basketball, hanging out, hoops, kicking it back, relaxing. Chat will be fun. Join us. Join us Sunday. Have a good night.